to prove that you are holding the script of an orthodox demon emperor after your transmigration. You intended to play it safe until the golden core stage, before coming out of seclusion to sweep the world. However, you were chased as a remnant of the demonic sect by the righteous path for half a year. Not only were your life-saving talismans exhausted and your speed talismans used up, but after being chased into a forbidden zone, you accidentally triggered an ancient life and death bond. At this moment, the Holy Maiden, who had been chasing you for 3 days and 3 nights, is holding a sword to your throat, yet she cannot bring herself to thrust it forward. The night is as dark as ink. Wild winds in the desolate forest whip up withered leaves. You are running for your life with all your might. The sword wound on your chest is still bleeding. The spiritual power in your body is all but depleted. The mad woman behind you has been chasing you for 3 full days and nights. Who knows what you have been through in these 3 days? Stop chasing. You've even followed me into the forbidden zone. Is it really worth it? You shout while looking back as you run, trying to dissuade the footsteps pursuing you from behind. Unfortunately, it is useless. Remnant of the demonic sect, surrender now, and I might leave your corpse intact. Xia Qingyu's voice carries no ripple of emotion. You curse silently in your heart. You were originally just a fresh college graduate, still worrying about finding a job, only to accidentally transmigrate into this cultivation world, bearing the inheritance of the demon emperor. You reached the golden core stage in less than 2 years, according to your plan. You should have been developing low-key, staying safe until you were the strongest before emerging. But before you could develop, the demonic sect was wiped out by the righteous path. You didn't get any of the benefits, but couldn't escape the consequences. You were clearly just a nominal demon cultivator, never having done anything evil. Yet you have been hunted as a remnant of the demonic sect for half a year. Damn it, that's not how it's written in the low-key cultivation novels. Swish, a ray of white light strikes from behind. You lunge to the side, and the tree trunk beside you is split by sword chi, wood splinters flying everywhere. You fish out the last speed talisman from your storage bag and slap it on yourself, increasing your speed by a fraction. It's useless. Xia Qingyu's voice is closer now. Her white clothes are exceptionally striking in the night, her long sword pointing directly at your back. The effect of the speed talisman fades, and you see a dilapidated altar appear in front of you, surrounded by swirling mist, emanating an eerie atmosphere. Either way is death. Might as well take a gamble. You stop and turn around. Xia Qingyu stops as well. Not running, can't run anymore. You pant heavily. I'll say it one last time. I have never done anything wicked. Don't lump me in with those demon cultivators. Xia Qingyu snorts coldly, her wrist sinking slightly. Rules of the Tianxian sect, remnants of the demonic sect, shall be executed without exception. Your heart turns cold, daring not to hold back any longer. You silently recite the secret incantation from the demon emperor's inheritance. Heavenly demon blood burning method. Using your essence blood as a guide to forcefully activate the power of the inheritance. Even if your cultivation drops significantly later, it's better than dying here. Xia Qingyu senses something is wrong, and the long sword thrusts forward. You raise your hand to block, your palm colliding with the sword tip with a piercing sound, the two of you entangling in battle. As your figures flash, you know not when you arrived on the dilapidated altar. Your blood and her blood drip onto the altar simultaneously, instantly erupting in a dazzling light. A series of ancient formation patterns enveloping you both. Your vision goes black, and you completely lose consciousness. I do not know how much time has passed. When you slowly wake up, you find Xia Qingyu holding a long sword, steadily braced against your throat. What does this mean? You had to wait for me to wake up before taking action. Once, there was a sincere love placed before me. You open your mouth, trying to struggle a bit. Shut up. She interrupts you ruthlessly. But you notice Xia Qingyu's face is pale and her breath is unstable. She could clearly kill you with a slight movement. Yet she has been hesitating to strike. Facing the sword tip at your throat, you harden your heart and lean forward. She subconsciously pulls the sword back, confirming your suspicion. You immediately chuckle. I was wondering why this was the scene when I opened my eyes. So, you can't kill me anymore. Xia Qingyu's expression changes slightly, and she asks sharply, cut the crap. What exactly is going on with that formation? How the hell would I know? You step back twice to avoid the sword tip. I've never been to this forbidden zone either. If you hadn't chased me for 3 days and nights, I wouldn't have run here. The tides have turned. I never expected that after being chased for 3 days, I would have a chance to gain the upper hand. Xia Qingyu suddenly turns the sword tip to thrust at her own heart. You are startled, rushing up to grab her wrist. What are you doing? The moment the sword tip is about to pierce her heart, a sudden, intense sense of deathly crisis rises in your heart, as if the one being stabbed were you. Life and death together. You click your tongue. So we've become grasshoppers on the same rope. Xia Qingyu ignores you, squatting by the altar, trying to identify the ancient runes. You, on the other hand, kick at the rubble and weeds, silently planning your low-key career in your heart. Once I make it from the east of the river to the west, I'll definitely wipe out your entire Tianxian sect as well. After half an hour of struggling, not even a single complete rune has been identified. The red light on the altar grows fainter, and you stand up, brushing the dust off your hands, cheerfully persuading her, stop looking. I don't mind you anyway. I'll settle the score of you chasing me next time we meet. Xia Qingyu turns and flies toward the outside of the forbidden zone. I'm going back to the Tianxian sect to find my master. You curl your lip, but after taking only 2 steps, you feel a dull pain in your chest, and the spiritual power in your body instantly falls into chaos. Xia Qingyu is also forced to land, staggering as she clutches her chest. This bond can't be too far apart. So what? You step back half a step. Go back to the Tianxian sect with you. I'm a demon cultivator. Am I rushing to the Tianxian sect to die? Xia Qingyu grits her teeth. Then let's find clues in the forbidden zone first. Your spiritual power is exhausted, and the backlash of the secret technique hasn't healed yet. How long will it take to recover? You spread your hands. 10 days or half a month, I suppose. She throws a bottle of healing pills from her storage bag to you. Hurry up. You catch the pills, cheerfully dumping a few into your mouth, without any intention of helping. Half an hour later, both have finished their meditation. Xia Qingyu stands up, gripping her sword tightly. Let's go. Start looking from around the altar. You lean against a stone pillar, slowly standing up, watching this woman who chased you for 3 days and nights, now forced to be tied to you. A thought suddenly pops into your head. If this bond can never be undone, doesn't that mean she'll have to be stuck with you forever? Doesn't that mean the anger you've bottled up all these years can be taken back, bit by bit? The forbidden zone is filled with cold wind, with broken columns and rubble scattered around the altar, and weeds growing taller than a person, with some broken stone tablets vaguely visible. Jiang Yungue follows behind Xia Qingyu, walking leisurely like a leader inspecting work. He knows the forbidden zone is full of dangers, and a single misstep could trigger some hidden killing intent. Like the altar formation from before, he was being chased earlier, so he had no choice. But now that Xia Qingyu can't kill him, he certainly won't take any more risks. He'll just loaf around, and make sure she doesn't find a way out, at least not for now, because Jiang Yungue can't beat her yet. Xia Qingyu knows the person behind her is unlikely to help, so she calms her mind, channeling her spiritual power to probe and perceive her surroundings. She walks to a relatively intact stone tablet, carefully wiping the inscriptions on it, but unfortunately, the carved runes are long since blurred, providing no useful information at all. Jiang Yungue watches her figure, suddenly pondering, if the bond cannot be undone, does he still have a chance to take revenge? Sharing life and death is one thing, but sharing the burden of serious injuries, that is truly a bit perverse. However, he was in a near-death state from the backlash of the secret technique at the time, which is why Xia Qingyu shared it. Perhaps it wouldn't happen for minor injuries. Should I give her a sword stroke now? Anyway, she can't kill me. Jiang Yungue feels a bit tempted. Xia Qingyu seems to sense something, looking back at him, the long sword in her hand flashing with a cold, sharp light. Jiang Yungue's body stiffened slightly. Forget it. I can't beat her for now. In the end, I'll definitely be the one suffering more. Xia Qingyu looks away, a soft sigh escaping her heart. Clearly, just a moment ago it was kill or be killed. Clearly, she was just a hair's breadth away from executing him. But now it has become a relationship of life and death. It's just too absurd. And she can't even return to the sect. Xia Qingyu feeling an indescribable gloom in her heart. After walking for a while, Jiang Yungue stops following directly behind her, starting to wander around. Whenever he spots characters on a stone tablet or pillar nearby, he notes them down first, and then, accidentally, kicks it over. The core ability of the Demon Emperor's inheritance is devouring, capable of consuming various spiritual objects, heavenly materials, earthly treasures, and even the essence blood of spirit beasts, transforming them into his own strength. This is the reason he reached the early stage of the golden core in less than 2 years. Perhaps the bond power of the altar formation could also be devoured by him, but he dares not try it. Since the bond makes it impossible for the two of them to separate, he must wait until his strength is greater than Xia Qingyu's before undoing it. Otherwise, if this mad woman stops playing by the rules, and draws her sword on the spot, he'll have nowhere to cry. An hour passes in the blink of an eye. Xia Qingyu has carefully searched every corner around the altar where information might exist, but besides seeing some tablets inscribed with the words, blood bond of common origin, there is no other clue related to the formation. The red light on the altar fades completely, and the formation patterns sink into the flagstones, as if they had never appeared at all. Xia Qingyu stands up, her brows tightly locked, the anxiety in her heart growing stronger. The matter of the blood bond is like a fishbone in her throat. She must never be associated with a demon cultivator, and even less can she let the sect know. After deep thought for a moment, she turns suddenly, her long sword unsheathed, pointing directly at Jiang Yungue's chest, her tone icy, carrying an undeniable threat. Come with me now to leave the forbidden zone. There are no clues at the altar. We will find a way to break it after we get out. I won't take you back to the sect, but if you dare to resist, even if our lives are linked, I will make you suffer. So overbearing. Jiang Yungue arches an eyebrow, stepping back half a step. Holy maiden, although one shouldn't violate a woman's will, you shouldn't restrict my personal freedom either, right? We can negotiate things. Why don't you put the sword away first? If you're not careful, it could be 1 life, 2 deaths. Xia Qingyu's wrist sinks, the sword tip pressing a little closer. Stop playing word games with me. Either come out with me, or I'll act right now. TSK. As expected, without strength, there is no sovereignty. Jiang Yungue looks at the long sword about to pierce his chest. Although the blood bond has temporarily saved his life, it also limits him from leaving Xia Qingyu's side, and he can't beat her. At most, he can threaten her with both their lives. But Xia Qingyu also holds both their lives. Damn, I'm caught in a trap. There's no way around it. If he doesn't want to drag this holy maiden to the grave, he can only negotiate. So, before Xia Qingyu prepares to act, he speaks up. I can go out, but I think we need to set some rules first. Xia Qingyu immediately wants to refuse upon hearing this. Demon cultivators have no credibility at all. These terms are just another way for him to push for more. But then she thinks, if Jiang Yungue really decides to play rough, it will be very troublesome. So, after a moment of contemplation, she asks, what kind of rules? Jiang Yungue coughs lightly, holding up a few fingers to gesture. 3 chapters of agreement. First, we are in a relationship of life and death. Each holds the other's life, so there is no hierarchy. We must respect each other. Second, all actions must be agreed upon by both parties. You cannot secretly contact the people of the Tianxian sect. Third, I'll think of the third one later. Anyway, holy maiden, you wouldn't want people to know you're bound to a demon cultivator, right? Xia Qingyu stares at him, always feeling something isn't quite right. Is it really just 3 chapters of agreement? A smoke screen? She isn't sure, and doesn't have much time to guess. The most important thing right now is to break the blood bond. If it's just these, I agree, but you must guarantee that finding a way to break the blood bond is the top priority. Understood. Jiang Yungue nods, following in the footsteps of the holy maiden, leaving the forbidden zone together. The forbidden zone is dangerous. Naturally, it's better to let the stronger one clear the path in front. Xia Qingyu walks in the lead, releasing her perception to carefully probe the surrounding environment. The world they are in is called the Zhangshuan realm, also known as the lower realm, because of an ancient war, causing spiritual energy to be thin, with the highest cultivation in this realm being the peak of the nascent soul, and anything higher requiring ascension to the upper realm. Jiang Yungue and Xia Qingyu, both as golden core cultivators, are already absolute powerhouses in the lower realm, but even in the forbidden zone, they still need to be careful, for being strong doesn't mean being invincible. Jiang Yungue follows behind her, his demeanor lazy and casual, while his perception is quietly spread out, constantly probing for unusual movements. However, he occasionally picks up a pebble from the roadside, tossing it back and forth, deliberately pretending to be a slacker, with no other meaning, simply wanting to make the holy maiden feel annoyed. After walking for about an hour, a low roar suddenly comes from ahead. Xia Qingyu stops, her long sword unsheathed once again. A spirit beast. As soon as the words fall, a black shadow rushes out from the bushes, large in size, with scarlet eyes, and covered all over with pitch-black scales. It's a black-scaled beast at the middle stage of the golden core. The black-scaled beast roars at the two of them and pounces, its sharp claws carrying fierce force. Unstoppable. Holy crap. Middle golden core, holy maiden, it's up to you now. Jiang Yungue steps back twice, shielding Xia Qingyu in front, his eyes scanning the bushes behind the black-scaled beast, where several spiritual herbs emitting rich spiritual power are growing, clearly things the black-scaled beast is guarding. He hooks the corner of his mouth. Truth be told, the black-scaled beast was originally sleeping, and wouldn't have discovered them if they had hidden their aura. Xia Qingyu has no time to deal with him, her figure flashing, charging toward the black-scaled beast, her long sword waving, and fierce sword chi slashing toward the beast. The black-scaled beast has thick skin and flesh, the sword chi leaving only shallow marks on its body, roaring as it counters, its sharp claws swatting at Xia Qingyu. Its attack fierce, sword light and beast claws collide, creating a deafening roar. As a middle-stage golden core cultivator, Xia Qingyu, her strength is undeniable, and Jiang Yungue feels he should give her a thumbs up. But the black-scaled beast is also in the middle golden core stage, with thick skin, flesh, and astonishing strength. Even she cannot take it down for a moment, only able to circle around with it. Jiang Yungue, taking advantage of the black-scaled beast being tied up by Xia Qingyu, quickly runs over to pick those few spiritual herbs, stuffing them into his storage bag, while not forgetting to shout, "Holy maiden, go for it. It's no match for you." Xia Qingyu glimpses his movements from the corner of her eye, so angry she almost turns around to kill him directly. This bastard. After a fierce battle, Xia Qingyu, having expended a lot, finally seizes an opportunity, ending the black-scaled beast's life with one sword stroke. The spirit beast lets out a wail, collapsing to the ground, its life force completely gone. Seeing this, Jiang Yungue immediately scurries over, cheerfully giving a thumbs up, praising, as expected of the holy maiden, "Your strength is truly impressive. Even a spirit beast at the middle golden core stage, you took down with ease. I am full of admiration." Xia Qingyu feels more and more angry, looking at his playful, grinning face, and thinking of his act of picking spiritual herbs while she was busy, almost stabbing him on the spot. "What were you doing just now? Why didn't you help?" Hearing the holy maiden's angry questioning, Jiang Yungue clutches his chest, sighing lightly. "I was mainly concerned that my injuries hadn't healed, afraid I would just be a hindrance, so I stayed on the side and cheered for you. You're lying to a ghost." Xia Qingyu takes a deep breath, too lazy to argue with him, her tone icy. "Cut the crap. Hurry up and go. The commotion here might attract other spirit beasts." Hearing this, Jiang Yungue shrugs his shoulders, running off to extract the beast core first, before following her footsteps to continue onward. Can't let it go to waste. The Forbidden Zone is indeed full of danger, and Jiang Yungue even wonders why he didn't encounter any danger when he broke in while fleeing. Could it really be that he's lucky? On the return journey, they encounter several spirit beasts in succession, and eerie restrictions within the Forbidden Zone. Almost every time, Xia Qingyu charges ahead to deal with the trouble, while he slacks off the whole time, only stepping up to offer a disingenuous compliment after she solves the danger. Value or not, never mind. At least the emotional support is on point. Having gone through the trials along the way, Xia Qingyu's character has grown significantly, basically able to shut out external distractions and stick to her original intent. Well, she now has her mind set solely on breaking the blood bond, and then running a sword through this remnant of the demonic sect. Damn guy, I will definitely kill you. The journey is smooth without major incidents, and after walking for nearly 2 hours, they finally leave the Forbidden Zone, arriving in the mountain forest atop the cliff. Looking ahead, the mountain forest is filled with ancient trees, sunlight spilling through the gaps in the branches, mottled light and shadow, much more vibrant compared to the gloom and eeriness inside the Forbidden Zone. Jiang Yungue breathes in the spiritual energy of the forest, just wanting to sigh twice about the beauty of life, and persuade Xia Qingyu to put down the butcher's knife, and stop accumulating killing sins on herself. Is a demon cultivator's life not a life? Self-censored text. Anyway, saving 1 life earns great merit, saving 2 earns even greater merit. But before the words could even leave his mouth, he sees the girl in front raise her hand to signal him to be quiet, lowering her voice. Don't speak, there's the aura of cultivators. Jiang Yungue is taken aback, following Xia Qingyu's line of sight to release his spiritual energy to probe, discovering that on the forest trail in the distance, several white figures are walking slowly toward them, embroidered with the logo of the Tianxian sect on their robes. Their aura weak. Those are a group of outer disciples of the Tianxian sect, their cultivation no more than the 4th or 5th layer of qi refining, looking like they are traveling down the mountain for training. Xia Qingyu's expression changes slightly, immediately pulling Jiang Yungue to fly rapidly in the other direction. Don't move around. Those are outer disciples of the Tianxian sect. They must not discover that I am with you. Seeing this, Jiang Yungue becomes interested, speaking up to tease. Hey, this style isn't right, is it? I say, holy maiden, where's the spirit you had for chasing me earlier? Now a group of tiny shrimps in the qi refining stage can scare you into running away. Xia Qingyu frowns tightly, only stopping after leaving for a distance, turning to glare at him coldly. Damn it, if it weren't for him, how could she be like this? She cannot be discovered by the sect that she has a connection with a demon cultivator. She must find a way to break the blood bond even faster. Seeing her unable to speak, Jiang Yungue continues to mutter to himself. TSK TSK, truly a rare sight to behold. A golden core cultivator hiding from qi refining disciples. I'm afraid all your cultivation has been fed to the dogs. Hearing him speak more and more harshly, Xia Qingyu grips her sword hilt, her anger rising. With a demon cultivator like you beside me, how can I show my face? Jiang Yungue raises a playful grin, randomly suggesting ideas. That's easy. You just reveal your identity as the Holy Maiden, and say that your actions in life do not need to be explained to others. If they dare to question you, you scold them again about what righteous path. They are all just hypocritical rats. From today on, you renounce the sect and enter the demonic. Then grab them all, and refine them in an instant. Oh right, when you do it, don't forget to jia jia jia. That's the work style of our demonic sect. Clang. Xia Qingyu can't take it anymore, her long sword unsheathed, directly killing toward Jiang Yungue. Jiang Yungue's brows jump, hurriedly dodging to the side, while not forgetting to shout. Hey, 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 don't do it. Wasn't I just offering you some advice? If you're not satisfied, we can change it. Shut up. Xia Qingyu doesn't hold back at all, clearly having endured for too long. Each move fierce, Jiang Yungue fights while retreating, quietly guiding the person back to the previous location. He really wants to see if Xia Qingyu encounters the Tianxian sect disciples, what she would do. That scene, TSK TSK, killing them to cover it up equals betraying the sect. He uses a recording stone to document it, and this secret will be enough to last a lifetime. Not doing it equals informing the sect that she has an unusual connection with a demon cultivator. Either way is a cliff. This is much more satisfying than just tossing words back and forth. But unfortunately, he still thought too highly of it, even though they only tangled for a moment. Those qi refining disciples, after sensing a battle between powerhouses ahead, were so scared they ran away immediately. Damn, running so fast, in a hurry to be reborn. Jiang Yungue's heart sinks, knowing that if they keep fighting, it will just be a beating for nothing, so he hurriedly waves his hands, dodging the fierce sword light while shouting, stop, 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 don't fight, I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Xia Qingyu doesn't listen at all, the attack intensity remaining. Jiang Yungue feels a pain in the indifferent. It seems he didn't put the brakes on his mouth earlier, and really got her genuinely angry. Sword light flickers, spiritual energy collides, the rumbling sound echoing continuously in the forest. Although Jiang Yungue had once planned to be a low-key person, that doesn't mean he would swallow his anger when things happen. He let Xia Qingyu chase him before, fine, but now that there's a blood bond, he won't die anyway, and since you're still bullying me, then let's fight. After a long time, Jiang Yungue confirms confirms one thing. The blood bond sharing of injuries truly only triggers when the injury is severe to a certain extent. Like the backlash of the heavenly demon blood burning method. His cultivation is not as good as Xia Qingyu's, putting him at a disadvantage in the battle. But he can frantically activate the demon emperor's secret technique, not only for a burst of power in a short time, but the secret technique's backlash also makes Xia Qingyu share it. Jiang Yungue fights, almost unable to keep from laughing out loud, mutually hurting. Who? The two of them temporarily call a truce. Xia Qingyu puts away her sword, and Jiang Yungue also puts the demon emperor's black sword into his storage bag. Both have had time to calm down for a while, judging by their current way of getting along, let alone finding a way to break the blood bond. It's questionable whether they can live together for a few more days. Xia Qingyu sighs with a headache. 3 chapters of agreement. I want to add to it. Jiang Yungue looks at her upon hearing the voice, signaling her to speak. Xia Qingyu, first, in front of outsiders, you absolutely must not mention me, nor expose my identity, and even less speak of the blood bond between us. Second, before breaking the bond, both sides must hide their real names and identities, not letting anyone know you are a demon cultivator, and I am the holy maiden of the Tianxian sect. Third, we must change our appearance, and travel with aliases, avoiding being recognized by people of the Tianxian sect or other righteous path cultivators. Alias? Jiang Yungue arches his eyebrows slightly, having no objection to the other conditions, mainly because they just had a fight and he wants to rest for a while. If I don't call you holy maiden, what do I call you? Xia Qingyu thinks for a moment. Call me Xia Yu. Xia Yu, reigning? Jiang Yungue is taken aback, thinking, what kind of name is this? There's a problem. Xia Qingyu looks at him, asking, it's just an address to cover up in front of others. Just keep it simple. What about you? What is your name? 2 words immediately flash in Jiang Yungue's mind, and he blurts out, I'm called Guafeng Blowing Wind. Guafeng Blowing Wind? Xia Qingyu is also taken aback upon hearing this, thinking, according to my naming rules, Jiang Yungue should take the alias Jiang Gue, Jiang Return, right? What kind of name is this? Forget it. It's just an alias anyway. It doesn't matter what it's called, as long as the real identity isn't exposed. The name issue is solved. Next is appearance. Xia Qingyu doesn't expect Jiang Yungue to have any transformation treasures on him, so she takes a porcelain bottle from her storage bag, and throws it over. These are transformation pills. After taking them, both appearance and aura will change. 1 pill is effective for 30 days, which should be enough to resolve the blood bond. Is it enough? Setting such a flag at the beginning of the action. I think the blood bond matter is 8/10 likely to fail. Jiang Yungue thinks this way, catching the porcelain bottle, pouring out a pill, looking at it left and right, and says, do we really need transformation pills? Isn't wearing a veil or a mask enough? Xia Qingyu looks at him expressionlessly, as if to say, you, a lone demon cultivator. Of course you feel it doesn't matter. As the holy maiden of the Tianxian sect, she has many ties, and if discovered, there would not be even a trace of room for recovery. Don't be careless. Xia Qingyu doesn't say much more, taking 1 transformation pill herself first, to prove there is no problem with the pills. The pill takes effect the moment it hits her mouth. Xia Qingyu's beautiful, cold, and sharp face gradually changing, her eyebrows and eyes softening, her skin tone deepening slightly, fading away the outstanding aura of the holy maiden, turning into an ordinary-looking female cultivator, looking like there's nothing special about her anymore. Beside, after Jiang Yungue takes the pill, his appearance also changes accordingly, the sharpness of a youth fading, a sense of stability and maturity added to his face, his shape and appearance becoming undistinguished, belonging to the type that is very unremarkable in a crowd, accidentally became the image of a low-key person he originally imagined. Where do you plan to go first? Jiang Yungue continues to follow behind Xia Qingyu, asking for their destination. Looking for a way to break the blood bond is fine, but if he has to follow her into a dangerous place, that's another price. After all, he's not in a hurry to break it. Xia Qingyu replies coldly, let's find the Wanbao Pavilion first. Maybe there will be relevant information about the blood bond. Buying intelligence, huh? Jiang Yungue arches his eyebrows slightly. He has a little understanding of the Wanbao Pavilion, knowing that it is a neutral force, with shops all over the states and cities of the Zhongshuan realm, selling all kinds of cultivation treasures, pills, magical artifacts, talismans, and of course, intelligence of all levels, up to secret realm clues and sect secrets, down to street anecdotes and cultivator gossip. As long as the price is reasonable, it can all be traded. As long as there is business to be done, regardless of righteous path or demon cultivator, all are customers. However, Jiang Yungue hasn't spent money there. Truth be told, he was poor to begin with whatever pills and spiritual stones he had been converted into cultivation by his devouring ability. Otherwise, it would be impossible to break through to the golden core in less than 2 years, not to mention when he was in the demonic sect. At least it was stable. Ever since the demonic sect was wiped out, and he was branded with the label of remnant of the demonic sect, he has been living a life of wandering and running for his life, having no chance at all to look for cultivation resources. Originally, there was still some stock left in his storage bag, but because of being chased by Xia Qingyu, all those remaining spiritual stones, pills, and talismans were exhausted. Now he is purely a pauper, with only a few spirit fruits he casually picked in the forbidden zone on him. Damn it, thinking about it, his heart is full of bitterness. Jiang Yungue stares at the girl's figure in front, involuntarily hallucinating that if he had transmigrated to the Tsangshuan realm and ended up in a righteous sect, how comfortable his life would be. The demonic sect has ruined me, but unfortunately, there is no way back. As Xia Qingyu would put it, once a demon cultivator, always a demon cultivator. These damned hypocritical righteous paths. A demon cultivator is also a life. Besides, I'm a good person who hasn't stained his hands with blood, just trying to stay safe. Xia Qingyu doesn't know Jiang Yungui's passionate internal defense for himself. She moves forward, target firm, leaving the mountain forest outside the forbidden zone. There is basically no danger that could threaten her, unless she runs into Tianxian sect disciples again, and she has already used the transformation pill to disguise herself, so there is no need to worry. Therefore, the travel speed is fast, time flies, and in the blink of an eye, an hour has passed. The mountain forest in front is gradually thinning, with the silhouettes of villages vaguely visible in the distance. Xia Qingyu's target is the Wanbao Pavilion, which isn't in the village, just like how there wasn't a milk tea shop in the village where Jiang Yungue lived before, and if you want to drink it, you have to run to the town to buy it. After they walk out of Black Wind Mountain, they still need to continue traveling, with the nearest town called Qingshan City. The distance isn't too far, and at their speed, arriving before sunset today is definitely no problem. But just at this moment, both of them stop at the same time, a trace of realization flashing in their eyes. In the bushes ahead, there are many figures hidden, their auras weak and messy, clearly people lying in ambush. Yo-ho, robbing us? Jiang Yungue probes a bit and can see that these bandits have very low cultivation, with the strongest being only the 6th or 7th layer of qi refining, and the rest mostly the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th layer of qi refining. Not enough to fear at all. Wait a minute, all I have to do is shout, go, Xia Qingyu. Then a sword light flashes, and the world is quiet. I guess these bandits never dreamed that the person sending them on their way would be the holy maiden of the Tianxian sect. This is life, full of various accidents. Cultivators seek immortality, deluding themselves that their lifespan is infinite. But many people don't die of old age, just like you, lying in ambush on the mountain day after day, expecting to earn a little more today, expecting to secretly hide a few spiritual stones on yourself, expecting that one day when the boss is in a good mood, you'll be promoted to deputy, and you'll be able to lead a group of henchmen with high spirits. But who would have thought? Two ordinary-looking people with ordinary temperament and ordinary everything pass by. You think you can follow the process and plunder, maybe even have unexpected gains, but they are hidden golden core cultivators, just extending a finger to crush you to death. Jiang Yungue clicks his tongue in his heart. He still thinks the low-key path is the truth of the cultivation world, only to be trapped by the identity of the demonic sect. It's all fate. He takes 2 steps forward, finding that the girl in front is still not moving. What does that mean? Scared by a few qi refining bandits? Don't tell me you, a golden core cultivator, really can't beat qi refining? A trace of doubt flashes in Jiang Yungue's eyes. Xia Qingyu looks back at him, her head tilted slightly, as if signaling him to do something. Jiang Yungue is taken aback at first, realizing immediately after and feeling a bit speechless. So, seeing that he hasn't done any work in the forbidden zone, she's making him deal with the bandits now, killing a chicken with a butcher's knife. This mountain was opened by me. This tree was planted by me. If you want to pass through here, leave your money behind. The two switch places, with Jiang Yungue leading the way, and just after taking 2 steps, several figures rush out from the bushes, shouting the classic and cliché lines. Dozens of bandits are in a surrounding posture, each face with a scar, long or short, surrounding Jiang Yungue and Xia Qingyu. The lead bandit is a thin, small man, his eyes gloomy, cultivation at the 6th layer of qi refining, being the strongest among these bandits, also the one with the longest scar on his face. It seems the scar is their organizational symbol. Damn, how many years has it been? These old lines aren't getting tiring? Jiang Yungue digs his ears, complaining, not in a hurry to make a move. The thin, small man sees killing intent in his eyes upon hearing this, the blood-stained long knife in his hand flashing with cold light. Brat, you're looking for death, aren't you? The surrounding bandits see their boss is angry, all raising their long knives to point at Jiang Yungue and Xia Qingyu, the posture looking like they are about to hack them into pieces directly. Hey, wait a minute. Jiang Yungue calls out to him before the man makes a move, asking with some interest. I see you have quite a few hands. You must have been robbing this mountain for many years, right? Xia Qingyu frowns, feeling a bit speechless, wanting him to exert some effort to do some work, only for him to start chatting. The thin, small man sees Jiang Yungue's calm and composed expression, suddenly losing confidence in his heart. Neither of these two reveals an aura like that of a powerhouse, but to be safe, he suppresses the urge to act, and first threatens. Brat, I advise you to be sensible. Hurry up and hand over all your valuable treasures. That way you'll suffer a little less. I've been robbing on Black Wind Mountain mountain for many years. I've seen all kinds of cultivators. To tell you the truth, our mountain stronghold has several foundation establishment powerhouses, and those young cultivators who didn't know the height of heaven and earth and dared to resist just now, were directly subdued and dragged back to the stronghold, and they have probably been killed by now. Hearing this, Jiang Yungue arches his eyebrows slightly. Robbing for many years, and has foundation establishment powerhouses sitting in charge, then the family wealth should be quite significant. Isn't this a coincidence? Just happens that he is a pauper. Didn't expect to be able to make a haul today. Oh no, it's for the sake of the people to eliminate harm. Did you hear that? The thin, small man sees Jiang Yungue suddenly reveal a simple, honest, farmer-like smile, feeling inexplicably panicked in his heart. But with his younger brothers watching, he has to bite the bullet and continue to threaten. Xia Qingyu sighs lightly, a long sword appearing in her hand. She gives up, preparing to take action. To have you kill a bandit. It's either raining or blowing wind. However, Jiang Yungue blocks her. Wait a minute. Keeping the people alive is useful. Today I'll prove to you that I'm truly a good person. Xia Qingyu. The surrounding bandits and the thin, small man see the long sword unsheathed, finally understanding who the clown in this performance is, immediately turning his head to run. Not good. Run. Since you're already here, you still want to run? Jiang Yungue releases his spiritual energy, directly demonstrating to Xia Qingyu. What is? Grab them all. Refine them in an instant. In just a single instant. Among the dozen or so bandits, only the thin, small man is still alive. Bang, bang, bang. A few sounds like balloons exploding. The thin, small man is pressed to the ground by a mountain-like heavy spiritual pressure. Turning his head to look, finding that the younger brothers he brought had all exploded into blood mist, instantly not even daring to have the thought of running for his life. His legs going soft, kneeling directly to the ground, kowtowing repeatedly. Spare my life, master, spare my life. It is I who have eyes but failed to recognize the great mountain. I am guilty. I beg you, master, to spare my dog life. Jiang Yungue withdraws his spiritual energy, looking at him and sneering. I still prefer the way you were just now, so rebellious. The thin, small man is almost peeing his pants, begging frantically. I had a pair of dog eyes that couldn't see. I am guilty. I beg you, master, to spare my dog life. Jiang Yungue clicks his tongue, waving his hand. Alright, now take me to your mountain stronghold. If you dare to play any tricks, you will be the next one after them. Xia Qingyu doesn't want to waste too much time on bandits, but this group of bandits has been entrenched here doing evil for a long time. If they are not all eradicated, other people will definitely be harmed in the future. Thinking of this point, she follows Jiang Yungue's footsteps, going to the stronghold with him, proving to be a good person. Xia Qingyu stares at Jiang Yungue's figure, not believing a single word of it, taking her for a fool. Huh? Killing 2 bandits is a good person? In that case, the next time demon cultivators are being chased, they can all run to the mountain tops and find 2 bandits to kill. The thin, small man leads the way in front, even though his legs cannot stop trembling. He dares not have any delay, with that warm feeling in his crotch being clear. He knows, that is absolutely urine. Facing such a powerhouse, how could it be possible to make him sweat? At this time, inside the council hall of the stronghold, several bandit leaders are sitting around a stone table, with different expressions. The one in the lead is a robust man with a face full of flesh, his aura steady, with a big scar horizontally across the middle part of his face. The person with the longest scar in the stronghold, and also the strongest person in the stronghold. He is the great leader of the Black Wind Mountain stronghold, Zhou Hu, a foundation establishment early stage powerhouse, confident in trying to break through to the foundation establishment middle stage within 5 years, leading the stronghold to take another step up. Actually, with his strength, going out to mix in the righteous path could also open a wild chicken sect that doesn't enter the stream, recruiting 2 unlucky guys in, operating the sect together miserably, with the only worry every day being that the disciples in the sect shouldn't run away, and living a life that is prosperous. But in the end, he gave up a stable life, running to this Black Wind Mountain to do the dirty work of robbery, and doing it for several years. Don't ask. Asking means yearning for freedom. At this moment, he is playing with a pair of walnuts in his left hand, his face gloomy. Just now, people below reported, saying that a few outer disciples of the Tianxian sect were caught. What do you think? How should we deal with it? Sitting on the left is the second leader of the stronghold, a middle-aged cultivator with a sharp mouth and monkey cheeks, with a scar running vertically down the left half of his face. He strokes his goat beard upon hearing this, sneering. Big brother, although the Tianxian sect is a big sect of the righteous path, those who were caught are just a few outer disciples. Even if they are killed, no one will know. Since it has come to this, if you ask me, let's kill them and throw them into the mountains to feed the spirit beasts, quietly and secretly, avoiding leaving behind any future troubles. Second brother is right. The third leader of the stronghold is a man with a face full of scars, patting the table, his tone arrogant. Just a few outer disciples. With so many people in the Tianxian sect, they won't notice if a few go missing. Besides, our stronghold is not a soft persimmon, and we don't have to be afraid of a few chi-refining disciples of theirs. Zhou Hu contemplates for a moment, slowly nodding. Just do as you say. Remember to handle it cleanly, and don't leave any traces, to avoid attracting the attention of the Tianxian sect. Rest assured, big brother, leave these trifles to me. A chill flashes in the second leader's eyes. is. Clearly, he is already very skilled in cleaning up aftermaths. On the other side, in the prison on the west side of the stronghold, dark, damp, and filled with a musty and bloody smell. 4 outer disciples of the Tianxian sect are tied to stone pillars with iron chains, tattered clothes, their faces and bodies covered in scars, blood oozing from the corners of their mouths, their auras weak. They are exactly the Tianxian sect disciples who almost bumped into Xia Qingyu in the mountain forest earlier, falling into the ambush of the bandits while fleeing. In front of them, 2 bandits of the first layer of qi refining are holding wooden sticks, constantly waving and striking. The wooden sticks land on their bodies, making muffled sounds. Brother Zhang, do you think we can just beat them to death directly? A bald-headed lad kept moving his hands, asking seriously while he beat them. Brother Zhang. The other sneered upon hearing this, knowing that the bald-headed one almost died at the hands of Tianxian sect disciples back then. And naturally, seeing the disciples of his enemy now, he developed a killing intent. Don't be in such a hurry. Wait until the stronghold leader gives the order before killing them. Brother Zhang waved his hand. He was tired from beating them, and needed to rest for a while. The several Tianxian sect disciples, hearing that their lives were worth even less than pigs or sheep in front of them, immediately gritted their teeth and rebuked angrily. We are disciples of the Tianxian sect. If you dare to kill us, the Tianxian sect will surely flatten your stronghold, and avenge us. Hearing this, Brother Zhang's eyes were full of disdain and mockery. Tianxian sect? Ha ha ha. It really scared the hell out of me, dying here in this Black Wind Mountain. As long as we clean up the evidence a bit, and throw your corpses to feed the spirit beasts, who would know how you died? You are just a few outer disciples. Do you really think the Tianxian sect treasures you like precious jewels? After speaking, he raised the wooden stick again, smashing it fiercely onto that disciple's body. Still daring to threaten me? Giving you face is really giving you too much. The bald-headed lad didn't utter a word, burying his head and hitting them continuously. He was truly trying to beat them to death. One wooden stick after another broke, but fortunately, wooden sticks were the one thing they weren't short of here. The screams echoed in the dark prison. Not long after, Jiang Yungue looked toward the distance, seeing a mountain stronghold. The stronghold walls were piled up with rough stones, with a black flag stuck on top, embroidered with a crooked, distorted character for blade. If you didn't look carefully, you might mistake it for strength. Combined with the fact that everyone had a scar on their face, Jiang Yungue felt there was a 90% chance the stronghold was called Scar Stronghold. But it didn't really matter what it was called, because the righteous holy maiden walking beside him clearly didn't want to waste time on this. The long sword in her hand bloomed with cold light, sword intent constantly sweeping toward the surroundings. My lord, that is our stronghold ahead. The thin, small man wore a smile uglier than crying, turning his head to say to the two of them. Jiang Yungue waved his hand, letting him run back to the stronghold to call people first. Go, if you want to survive. Go call everyone out first, to save the trouble of finding people later. Xia Qingyu originally intended to charge in directly, killing anyone she saw. These bandits were no different from demon cultivators, all wicked villains who had committed countless evils. It was fine to kill fewer or miss a few, but she would never kill the wrong ones. However, since Jiang Yungue had already let the man act, she had no choice but to wait a beat longer. At the stronghold gate, 2 spirit beast guarding bandits of the first layer of qi refining were on duty, their expressions lazy. A second ago, they were recounting their romantic pasts before coming up the mountain, whose young wife they bullied today, which widow they would look for tomorrow. The next second, they saw the thin, small man running toward them in a panic, immediately asking in confusion, "What's going on, Brother Ho? Did something happen?" The thin, small man didn't even pay them any mind, running straight toward the council hall inside the stronghold. Jiang Yungue and Xia Qingyu followed behind to the stronghold gate. The 2 gatekeepers realized something was wrong, hurriedly drawing their blades to block them. Stop! Who are you? Daring to break into our Scar stronghold? Are you looking for death? Xia Qingyu couldn't be bothered with words. With just a shake of her sword intent, the 2 guarding bandits spat blood from their mouths and noses, kicking the bucket on the spot. Jiang Yungue glanced at their corpses, secretly thinking in his heart, it really is called Scar Stronghold. Inside the council hall, the 3 leaders of the Scar Stronghold, who had just finished their discussion, hadn't left yet, when they saw the thin, small man scrambling in, crying and shouting, "It's bad, Stronghold leader. Someone has attacked the stronghold. My brothers are all dead. Only I am left." Zhou, whose expression changed violently upon hearing this, subconsciously thinking, the Tianxian sect has attacked. He glared at the thin, small man, asking nervously, "Who is it? Is it someone from the Tianxian sect?" The thin, small man shook his head. They both looked quite ordinary, probably just passing casual cultivators. I didn't notice they were powerful at the time, and ended up almost dying at their hands. Zhou, who felt relieved the moment he heard this, raising his hand to slap the thin, small man in the face first, cursing, "What are you panicking about? You useless thing. I let you go out to rob, and it's either blowing wind or raining. Having done this for so many years, do you lack this little bit of judgment? Don't you know who you should or shouldn't attack?" The thin, small man was spun in a circle by the slap, blood oozing from the corner of his mouth, trembling all over with fear, crying as he said, "I really misjudged the situation at the time. It's my incompetence that caused my brothers to die, but people have already attacked the stronghold. I beg the stronghold stronghold leader and the 2 other leaders to take action together and help avenge our brothers. Jiang Yungue, carrying Xia Qingyu, had already strolled slowly into the stronghold. Several patrolling bandits saw this, thinking they were ordinary cultivators intruding, immediately raising their long knives and charging up, sternly shouting, "Who comes, daring to trespass in our stronghold? Are you looking for death?" In the council hall, the 3 leaders, hearing the commotion, immediately moved and rushed outside. Xia Qingyu released her perception, confirming that all the bandits in the stronghold had gathered around. Jiang Yungue likewise released his perception, probing to find where the treasures were stored. Seems to have discovered some remarkable things. Who are you? Why intrude into our stronghold? There shouldn't be any enmity between us, right? Zhou Hu frowned, unable to see through the strength of the 2 in front, and didn't take the initiative to attack, feeling a bit uneasy. Jiang Yungue looked at Xia Qingyu with slight surprise upon hearing this, before looking toward Zhou Hu and saying, "You've got some nerve, daring to capture even people from the Tianxian sect." Zhou Hu, it's over. What I feared has come. It really is someone from the Tianxian sect. He didn't hesitate for a moment, turning his head to run, but Xia Qingyu, who had attacked with anger, would never give him a chance. With a clang sound of a sword, it happened that all the bandits in the stronghold had arrived. For a family, everything should be neat and tidy, except for Jiang Yungue. Everyone was too late to react, feeling as if their eyes had turned white, and in their pupils, there remained only that silver trajectory spanning the heavens. Jiang Yungue clicked his tongue, although he was thinking that letting Xia Qingyu sweep them with one sword would save some trouble, preventing bandits from secretly taking the treasures and running away. But who would have expected these bandits to capture Tianxian sect disciples as well? They happened to be the same unlucky ones they almost bumped into not long ago. At least leave one alive to be questioned. Jiang Yungue sighed lightly, shaking his head and walking towards several dilapidated rooms ahead. Have to find it myself. Forget it. As the old saying goes, do it yourself. Have plenty of food and clothing. Xia Qingyu ignored his muttering, her figure flashing, swiftly heading toward the west side prison. With a cling sound, she swung her sword to cut the chains, rescuing the 4 outer disciples who were on the verge of death. How are you all? Can you still walk? The 4 disciples slowly opened their eyes, looking at Xia Qingyu in front of them, not recognizing her true identity. Realizing they had been rescued by her, they immediately voiced their gratitude. Many thanks to the senior for saving our lives. We are all disciples of the Tianxian sect, traveling away from the sect for training this time. Never thought we would encounter an ambush by bandits on Black Wind Mountain. If it weren't for you, senior, we would have probably died at the hands of the bandits. Xia Qingyu did not want to have too much contact with the sect disciples, afraid that she might reveal her identity if she said too much, and the fact that she was traveling with Jiang Yungue. No need to thank me. This place is dangerous. Hurry up and leave. The 4 disciples nodded hurriedly, and after thanking her again, they supported each other and walked toward the outside of the stronghold, not daring to stay for even a second. Xia Qingyu didn't bother with them too much. There were many dangers outside the sect, and she couldn't protect them forever. She had more important things to do, and could not waste any more time. Just as she turned to find Jiang Yungue, she found that he had already finished his work and was walking toward her, with a smile on his face that he couldn't hide. It didn't take a genius to know that he must have emptied the bandit's treasure vault, thinking that she had acted as his hired thug again, while he had snatched all the benefits. Xia Qingyu felt a burst of annoyance in her heart, stretching out a hand directly toward him. Jiang Yungue, what? He was stunned for a moment. Then a look of disbelief flashed in his eyes, finally looking at Xia Qingyu with complex emotions in his eyes, as if he had made a major decision, silently putting his own hand over. She slapped Jiang Yungue's paw away with her backhand, expressionless. Where are the treasures you looted? Take them out. 50-50 split. You're taking my life. At twilight, outside Qingshan City, Jiang Yungue and Xia Qingyu arrived before night completely fell. As one of the most prosperous cities in the vicinity, cultivators coming and going were endless, although there were guards at the city gate. In fact, you could enter freely with just a few low-grade spirit stones. The so-called identity check was not strict. After all, with a monthly salary of 3,000, why risk your life? Among so many wandering casual cultivators, who knows which one is a demon cultivator in disguise? Good enough is good enough. Everyone is living their lives with effort. Seeing Jiang Yungue and Xia Qingyu walking toward the city gate one after another, the guards stopped them and asked questions they had repeated countless times. Halt. Show your identity tokens, and state your purpose for entering the city. Jiang Yungue knew the process, stepping forward first to slip spirit stones to the guard, whispering, the 2 of us are casual cultivators, traveling nearby recently, and just happened to be passing through Qingshan City, so we intend to rest in the city for a few days. Big brother, please be accommodating. The big brother guard weighed the spirit stones in his hand, his expression softening a lot instantly. As he let the 2 in, he didn't forget to remind them. What? Accommodating or not accommodating? You can enter the city if your identities are normal. Remember not to cause trouble in the city. Qingshan City has very good public order, with countless powerhouses in the city. Anyway, just remember to be careful. Many thanks, big brother. I know. Jiang Yungue thanked him with a smile, his mature appearance after the transformation looking honest and simple. Taking Xia Qingyu into the city together. Qingshan City is very large, with sect cultivators or casual cultivators out for training visible everywhere. everywhere. Xia Qingyu didn't want to waste more time, also worrying about running into Tianxian sect disciples again. So as soon as she entered the city, she took Jiang Yungue and headed straight to the goal, heading to the Wanbao Pavilion. The Wanbao Pavilion is located east of the city center, with a total of 3 floors, vermilion doors, and 2 gilded plaques hanging at the entrance, inscribed with the 3 large characters, Wanbao Pavilion. Its momentum grand. Those coming and going are all cultivators. Walking into the Wanbao Pavilion, the interior is luxuriously decorated, shelves filled with various spiritual herbs, magical artifacts, and pills, a rich spiritual energy pervading the air. Several clerks in uniform are enthusiastically entertaining guests. 2 distinguished guests. May I ask what you need? Our Wanbao Pavilion has everything, whether it's spiritual herbs and pills, or magical artifacts and talismans. We can satisfy the needs of the 2 of you. A clerk walked up quickly, with a professional smile on his face, his gaze sweeping over the 2 of them, and even though he saw they were dressed plainly, he didn't show the slightest bit of negligence. Xia Qingyu nodded and said, "We are not here to buy treasures, but want to ask your pavilion for some information." Information about the ancient forbidden zone. She didn't directly state the matter of the blood bond, not only because she didn't want to expose it, but also because she wasn't sure if the contract was called a blood bond, and it would be awkward if she got it wrong. The clerk's smile stalled slightly upon hearing this, his expression becoming somewhat difficult. Distinguished guests, I am truly sorry. Information about the forbidden zone belongs to secret records. As a mere clerk, I don't know. Why don't I go invite our store manager out, and the 2 of you can discuss it with him in detail. I'll have to trouble you. Xia Qingyu nodded in response. The clerk turned, and walked quickly to the 2nd floor. Not long after, a middle-aged man in a brocade robe with a scholarly look walked down. 2 distinguished guests. I am the store manager of the Qingshan City branch of the Wanbao Pavilion. My surname is Lu. I heard that you want to inquire about the ancient forbidden zone. Store manager Lu walked to their side, asking in a peaceful tone. His aura was restrained, looking ordinary, but he was actually a Foundation establishment middle-stage cultivator. Xia Qingyu nodded, and after adjusting the true situation slightly, said, "That's right. The 2 of us accidentally broke into the forbidden zone earlier, and triggered an altar formation by accident. We are deeply troubled now, and wonder if the Wanbao Pavilion has any relevant clues." Store manager Lu, "Oh, I wonder if the 2 of you could elaborate on the details of the formation. Everything related to the forbidden zone is an ancient secret, and my Wanbao Pavilion has limited records, so I cannot guarantee that I can answer every question." Xia Qingyu still held a glimmer of hope in her heart and said, "The formation restricted our movements, and I found a stele inscribed with the words blood bond around the altar. I wonder if store manager Lu knows what kind of formation this is, and how to break it." Blood bond? Store manager Lu arched his eyebrows upon hearing this, slightly surprised. "I didn't expect that you 2 distinguished guests would accidentally trigger that altar. You know?" Xia Qingyu urged hurriedly. Store manager Lu shook his head. "Heard of it, but I don't know much." Xia Qingyu, "Then what the hell are you surprised about?" Guests, don't panic. There are clues. Forbidden zone-related secrets are mostly buried in the long river of time, and you won't find records in ordinary places. The forbidden zone has existed since the ancient times, and after that ancient war, the Zhongshuan realm separated from the upper realm, and most of the information was lost. Currently, if you want to find a way, there are only 2 methods. One is to go to those ancient forbidden zones, where you might find residual clues. The second is to go to the various secret realms of the Zhongshuan realm, which are also spaces left over thousands of years ago, where there might be records of the blood bond or ways to break it. It just so happens that there is a secret realm about to open near Qingshan City soon. If you 2 don't have many choices, you can go there to try your luck. He paused, and added, "If you 2 can find clues related to the blood bond, or a way to break it, you can come to my Wanbao Pavilion to sell it, and my Wanbao Pavilion's offer will definitely satisfy you, whether it's spirit stones, magical artifacts, or pills, as long as you ask, and as long as my Wanbao Pavilion has it, everything can be discussed." Xia Qingyu, "No, you've even started doing business." Jiang Yungue, hearing there were no clues, felt much more relaxed in his heart. The blood bond is not impossible to break, but it needs to be alleviated, slowly broken, optimally broken, broken rhythmically, broken first by those who are prepared, letting the break drive the subsequent break. Well, at the very least, it must wait until his strength is greater than Xia Qingyu's before breaking it. He hooked the corners of his mouth, cutting in before Xia Qingyu. "Many thanks, store manager Lu. If we can find clues, we will definitely come to your pavilion first." Store manager Lu smiled, as if remembering something again, and said, "Right, 2 distinguished guests. In 2 days, my Wanbao Pavilion will hold an auction, where a treasure related to shared destiny will appear, called Shared Destiny Jade, which is said to be able to sense the aura of those with a shared destiny, which might be of some help to you 2 in breaking the blood bond." A glimmer of light flashed in Xia Qingyu's eyes. "Store manager Lu, I wonder what the specific situation of this shared destiny jade is?" Store manager Lu shook his head again. "It cannot be elaborated on now. If you 2 are interested, you can come on the day of the auction, and handle the entry token with spirit stones. Many thanks for the reminder, store manager Lu. We will definitely come." Xia Qingyu thanked him. Store manager Lu bowed his hands. "If you 2 have any other questions, you can come find me at any time. If not, I shall take my leave first. Leaving the Wanbao Pavilion, the sky was late, and the lanterns in the city were lit one after another. The Bluestone Road was dyed with a warm, yellow halo by the streetlights. Cultivators coming and going were becoming increasingly sparse, with only a few scattered stalls still glowing with faint light, occasionally emitting a few whispers of conversation. Because Xia Qingyu said she wanted to wait for the auction in 2 days, they could only find an inn in the city to stay first. Hey, I say, must we find such a remote inn? Jiang Yungue followed behind, unable to help but complain. Are you a bit too cautious? Haven't you already disguised yourself? Still acting like we're having an affair. Xia Qingyu stopped upon hearing this, looking at him with a frown. First, the transformation pill is not a panacea. To avoid exposure, we must minimize contact with others. Second, if you don't know how to speak, you can shut up. Jiang Yungue curled his lips, not bickering with her too much. Forget it. There was no useful information in the Wanbao Pavilion. She is probably a bit anxious now. Don't get her angry with 2 words. If she really gets angry, and pulls her sword, he'll likely be stabbed. The two walked left and right along the way, walking into a quiet alley. The walls on both sides of the alley were mottled, and the lantern light could not reach the depths. Only a few strands of moonlight filtering through the cracks in the walls, casting small, fragmented shadows on the ground. Walking forward a distance, Jiang Yungue even started to suspect if Xia Qingyu was going to take him to find an empty ruined temple to spend the night. Just as he was about to raise his husky pointing finger, he heard the sobbing of a woman from ahead, mixed with the banter and scolding of several men, breaking the silence of the night. Xia Qingyu frowned, subconsciously quickening her pace to approach. Seeing this, Jiang Yungue let out an what are you doing, brother? Didn't we agree to minimize contact with others? Now, as soon as you hear someone in danger, your righteous heart can't hold back anymore. Jiang Yungue opened his mouth to look at Xia Qingyu's figure, but didn't say anything. To tell the truth, he actually once had a righteous path dream, too, to wield a sword across the world, and act with chivalry. It's just that now. Self-censored text. Heavens will is playing tricks on people. He sighed in his heart, shaking his head, following Xia Qingyu's footsteps. Inside the alley, 3 young dandies in luxurious clothes, their auras unfocused, were surrounding a woman in plain clothes. The lead man had a frivolous face, playing with a jade pendant in his hand, his tone frivolous. Little beauty, don't hide. This Qingshan city is a mixture of fish and dragons. How dangerous is it for you, a woman alone? Why not follow us brothers? I guarantee that no one will dare to bully you after this. The plain-clothed woman curled up in the corner of the wall, trembling slightly all over, her voice choked with sobs. Don't come over here. I don't have anything valuable on me. I beg you, let me go. She kept her head down, covering the expression in the depths of her eyes, deliberately pretending to be a frail girl with no power to truss a chicken. She was waiting for an opportunity. There were bodyguards in the dark protecting these dandies, and if she couldn't kill them all at once, she would be in big trouble. If it weren't for the severe injuries on her body, how could she have fallen into such a situation? The 3 dandies were already blinded by lust, with their little heads controlling their thinking, and they didn't discover anything unusual at all. Just at this moment, stop. In broad daylight, daring to force an innocent woman? Aren't you afraid of retribution? Xia Qingyu couldn't stand seeing such things in her life, and coupled with failing to find a way to break the blood bond in the Wanbao Pavilion, her heart was already filled with frustration. At this moment, she drew her sword directly, pointing at the 3 dandies. The 3 dandies were stunned, not discovering where this person jumped out from. Seeing someone suddenly pop up, the 3 dandies panicked for a moment, but when they saw Xia Qingyu's plain clothes, and that she didn't look like a disciple of a major sect, they immediately became arrogant again. The lead dandy sneered. Where did this yellow-faced woman come from? Daring to manage our business? Lu De, teach her a good lesson. After the words fell, he waved his hand, and the bodyguards who had been hiding in the dark appeared, short blades in their hands flashing with cold light, leaping toward Xia Qingyu. Xia Qingyu's eyes turned cold, her long sword lifting lightly, a fierce sword light slashing out following it. With a bang sound, the bodyguard named Lu De only acted cool for less than a second before being hit by the sword chi, smashing heavily onto the wall, the sound causing a burst of dog barking nearby. Seeing this, the 3 dandies were all stunned. Then their expressions changed drastically. What the hell? Lu De is a Foundation establishment early-stage powerhouse. How could he be killed instantly without even lasting one move? The lead dandy stared fixedly at Xia Qingyu, his legs trembling uncontrollably, but he still threatened fiercely. Don't come over. I tell you, I am the young master of the Lin family. If you dare to touch me, you will absolutely not be able to walk out of Qingshan City. Xia Qingyu's long sword moved again, clearly not intending to let them go. The Lin family? What kind of small family is that? I've never even heard of it. The other 2 dandies also reported their family names one after another, attempting to reach the effect of 1 + 1 + 1 3. Unfortunately, the righteous holy maiden still remained unmoved. Jiang Yungue stood on the side and found it inexplicably funny, saying such things. Are they worried that Xia Qingyu's sword isn't fast enough? Think about it. 2 days ago, when he was being chased, if he had shouted, "If you dare to kill me, the Heavenly Demon Sect won't let you go," it should have ushered in an even. No, wait, the Heavenly Demon Sect was wiped out by them. Self-censored text, coupled with his low-key cultivation career halfway through. It was ended midway. The three soon realized that pale verbal threats were useless, and turned to run. But Xia Qingyu couldn't give them a chance. Sword chi slashing onto their backs instantly, following three thumping sounds as they fell to the ground. They were all just weaklings in the chi refining stage, and if it weren't for Xia Qingyu deliberately holding back her power, this sword strike could have completely made them O King Yama 500 years. The three of them had bloody flesh and visible white bones on their backs, howling in pain without stopping. Xia Qingyu walked up slowly, staring down at the three of them, her eyes icy, bullying a weak woman in broad daylight, committing countless evils. Today, I will give you a lesson. After saying that, the spiritual power in her fingertips moved slightly, directly abolishing their already low cultivation. Spare my life. Immortal, spare my life. We will never dare again. The three dandies begged for mercy frantically. They had really felt it just now, the shadow of their great-grandmother flashing before their eyes, with the grim reaper waving to them. Xia Qingyu couldn't be bothered to look at them anymore, coldly saying, "Get out. If you dare to do evil again in the future, I will definitely not spare you." The three felt as if they had been granted amnesty, scrambling to climb up from the ground, ignoring the injuries on their bodies, and regardless of the bodyguard who had fainted on the ground, vying to escape the alley. The alley returned to calm, with only the woman's sobbing remaining. Xia Qingyu sheathed her sword, walking up, her tone softening a bit. "Miss, are you all right? Those people have already gone, and won't bully you again." The plain-clothed woman slowly raised her head, the tear marks on her face remaining, bowing to Xia Qingyu. "Many thanks to you for coming to my rescue. I, Fang Xiang, will never forget this great kindness. If it weren't for you, I probably would have." Saying this, she couldn't help sobbing again, her acting natural and perfect, without the slightest flaw. Jiang Yungue stood on the side, just a second ago thinking that Xia Qingyu not killing people was equal to letting the tiger back to the mountain. Although she was fiercer than Wu Song, people might jump out in the future to disgust her again. The next second, he suppressed his thoughts, and after seeing Fang Xiang's face clearly, his expression stiffened violently. "Not right. How is she so familiar?" He widened his eyes. "Damn, isn't this person an outer disciple elder of the heavenly demon sect? The sect leader is dead, and you actually survived? What the hell are you doing here? Xia Qingyu, look for yourself at what you saved." Back when the heavenly demon sect hadn't been wiped out, Jiang Yungue was quietly staying low in the demonic sect, mixing in the demon gate as an outer disciple, basically not contacting other people of the demonic sect, having no friends, and no enemies, even the outer disciple elders. He actually shouldn't have much of an impression of them, not to mention that Fang Xiang's strength was quite mediocre, only about the foundation establishment middle stage. The reason that really made him remember Fang Xiang was, one time when passing through a hidden wasteland in the demonic sect while hiding his aura, accidentally seeing Fang Xiang having a field battle with another demon gate elder. Very fierce, very exciting, which stunned him completely. Fortunately, at that time, he was already at the foundation establishment late stage, and his hiding technique was proficient. Otherwise, once exposed, not to mention being silenced, he certainly couldn't stay in the demonic sect. Of course, now the demonic sect is gone. In an instant, his thoughts turned, thinking that Fang Xiang's hookup should have died long ago, under that encirclement and killing by the righteous sects. The senior management of the heavenly demon sect was basically dead, and he only disguised himself as an outer disciple, not receiving special treatment for the first time. In the end, that she could survive is truly a miracle. So now, should he speak out her identity? Jiang Yungue is very curious. If Xia Qingyu knew that she was righteous and kind, and the person she saved was a remnant of the heavenly demon sect, what kind of expression would she have? Stunned, breaking down, or shy, annoyed, and angry enough to want to stab him? A remnant of the heavenly demon sect, to death together? Damn! The more he thinks about it, the more he feels it would be the latter. Fang Xiang is still acting at this time. She wiped away her tears, a reluctant smile appearing on her face, her tone sincere. "I came to Qingshan City to look for relatives, and although I didn't find them, I had already found a place to live in the city, only being accidentally encountered by evil villains while passing through this alley. Thanks to you for coming to my rescue." After the words fell, she bowed slightly, bowing to the two of them, her expression full of gratitude. Xia Qingyu didn't notice anything unusual about Fang Xiang's identity. After all, the dandies had just rolled away, and Fang Xiang had been a frail figure from beginning to end, with no issues in her character design, so she didn't think too much, saying warmly, "That's good. It's good to have a place to live. This alley is remote, and it's not safe at night. Miss, you'd better go back as soon as possible. Remember to be more careful when traveling in the future." Jiang Yungue glanced at the storage bag hidden in Fang Xiang's clothing, an idea suddenly popping up in his heart. Since meeting is fate, previously both being people of the heavenly demon sect, it means they have an unspeakable bad fate. For now, he can let her go first. Thinking of this, Jiang Yungue silently operated a secret technique from the demon emperor's inheritance called the shadow thread entanglement technique. The original purpose of this secret technique was was to hide one's own aura, convenient for sneak attacks or hiding. But after it fell into Jiang Yungui's hands, it was developed into a special use by him. He condensed a shadow thread as thin as a hair at his fingertips, without any aura fluctuations, invisible to the naked eye, even for fellow golden core cultivators. Without deliberate probing, it was absolutely hard to notice. Jiang Yungui's fingertips moved slightly, relying on the manipulation method he had figured out, controlling the shadow thread to drift out silently, accurately entangling the storage bag in Fang Xiang's clothing. Afterwards, he drew the shadow thread to hook gently, taking the storage bag from Fang Xiang's clothing. The storage bag slid into his sleeve along the shadow thread, the whole process as fast as lightning. Not only did Fang Xiang in her performance not notice it, even Xia Qingyu didn't notice it. Jiang Yungui's corners of his mouth tilted up, moving 2 steps to the side. The moonlight tonight is truly good. Hearing Xia Qingyu's words, Fang Xiang nodded repeatedly, thanking her again. Many thanks to you for the reminder. Many thanks to the young master for looking after me on the side. I have no words to thank you for your great kindness. I will go back now. If there is an opportunity in the future, I will definitely repay the 2 of you. After saying that, she looked at the 2 of them deeply, turning and walking quickly out of the alley, clearly wanting to leave this place of right and wrong as soon as possible. Only after Fang Xiang's figure disappeared at the end of the alley did Xia Qingyu turn to Jiang Yungui and say, let's go. The inn is right ahead. Jiang Yungui is in a good mood now, so he won't bicker with her about staying in such a remote inn. In the distance, confirming there was no one around, a cold color appeared in Fang Xiang's eyes. Those 3 damn things. If it weren't for someone suddenly appearing to disrupt the game, I would definitely have killed them all today. Forget it. It's just letting them live a few more days. Currently, it is more important for her to adjust the injuries on her body. She felt around her waist, just wanting to take off her storage bag, but touched emptiness. The mood that had just calmed down in her heart stalled violently, and the cold expression on her face froze instantly. Where is my storage bag? Wasn't it well there just a moment ago? Xianyun Inn, located in a relatively remote location within Qingshan City, with cheap prices, simple decoration, and truly few guests. Because of the content of the 3 chapters of agreement, staying to wait for the auction was Xia Qingyu's decision, so the cost of the accommodation naturally had to be borne by her. No choice, Jiang Yungui said. He was a pauper, and the treasures he looted from the stronghold were half cheated away by Xia Qingyu. Every time he thought about it, his heart ached until he couldn't breathe. Xia Qingyu couldn't communicate with him at all. The 2 had 1 room each, the rooms adjacent, without triggering the hidden plot where they had to squeeze into 1 room. Jiang Yungui walked into his room, closing the door, first breaking the imprint on Fang Xiang's storage bag, and then starting to check how many treasures were inside. The first thing that caught his eye was a small pile of low-grade spirit stones. This part of the assets was okay for a fleeing Foundation establishment demon cultivator, at least better than him. Then he shifted his spiritual thoughts, discovering several pieces of close-fitting, small clothing embroidered with gaudy patterns, the material thin as cicada wings, fine silver bells attached to the corners, making a crisp and ambiguous sound as soon as they were touched. Beside them, there was also a long-handled, small silver toy, its shape tricky, the top carved with complex patterns. His corners of the mouth twitched, a little bit surprised, and also a little bit expected. This woman is a veteran seductress. His spiritual thoughts shifted again, seeing there was a short bamboo pole-style spirit tool on the side, a bit of interest rising in his heart. Finally something decent. After taking it out, he looked at it carefully, attempting to pour spiritual power into the interior. The next second, one end of the short bamboo pole suddenly began to emit faint smoke. Jiang Yungui was startled. This is erotic poison gas. Erotic poison gas. As the name suggests, it is a gas that causes sexual desire to skyrocket. Jiang Yungui had nothing to say. He looked at the short bamboo pole, the small clothing, and that long-handled toy, unable to help but complain in his heart. Certainly knows how to enjoy. The next day, after devouring all the spirit stones in Fang Xiang's storage bag, Jiang Yungui opened his eyes, feeling that something was not quite right. He looked left and right, scanning the surroundings 8 times, scanning the surroundings 12 times, and finally locking his gaze on a miniature longsword imprint that appeared on his right wrist at an unknown time. What is this? Where did it come from? Doubt appeared in his eyes, first reaching out and touching the sword-shaped imprint, feeling nothing, not like a wound. Afterwards, he mobilized the spiritual power in his body, slowly gushing toward the imprint. The next second, the sword-shaped imprint emitted a bright light, and radiated an aura that was familiar to Jiang Yungui. This is Xia Qingyu. Jiang Yungui was stunned, brainstorming in an instant, recalling his experiences over the past few days, unable to remember at all when he was left with this imprint by her. Bad. She wouldn't have really watched a Chinese Odyssey, would she? Learning from Zixia Fairy, just like her donkey, giving him a stamp? This is too absurd. Jiang Yungui was still in a daze, when the door was pushed open suddenly. Xia Qingyu walked in frowning, without knocking at all. I ask you, is there any politeness? Jiang Yungui saw that she clearly had something to say, but this time, he asked questioningly first. Hey, what did you do to me? Why is there your imprint on my body? Xia Qingyu took a deep breath upon hearing this. Then her frown deepened even more. What is this smell in your room? Jiang Yungui. The erotic poison gas from last last night hasn't dissipated completely. He coughed lightly, acting as if he didn't hear it and skipping this topic directly, lifting his wrist and pointing at the sword-shaped imprint on it. You tell me first what is going on here. Didn't the 3 chapters of agreement say we should respect each other? What is it that you secretly put this thing on me? Xia Qingyu looked at him, raising her right hand without expression, revealing an almost identical sword-shaped imprint on her wrist. Spiritual power injected into it, and the aura belonging to Jiang Yungue radiated out. A scent of demon cultivator aura, she said. I also wanted to come and ask you, why is there your aura on my body? Jiang Yungue was stunned. Seeing this scene in front of him, the first thing he thought of was that the righteous holy maiden was stained with heavenly demon sect aura. Putting it outside, it is definitely a shocking news, and selling it to the Wanbao Pavilion might be worth quite a few spirit stones. Actually, currently, both of them have the other's imprint on their bodies, so there is no need to think about other reasons. It must be because of the blood bond. Jiang Yungue fell silent, and Xia Qingyu also fell silent. It had only been 1 day, and they already had the other's imprint. If the blood bond existed for a longer time, who knows what other strange things would pop up. Xia Qingyu felt a burst of frustration in her heart, but was helpless. Currently, they couldn't find a way to break the blood bond, unless they dragged Jiang Yungue to die together. Jiang Yungue looked at the imprint on his hand, and then looked at the imprint on Xia Qingyu's hand, rarely not teasing her anymore. The blood bond can temporarily restrict Xia Qingyu, which is quite good, but if this thing really races wildly in some strange direction, he will also have a feeling of his scalp tingling. Don't end up playing both of us to death. Have you discovered when the imprint appeared? Xia Qingyu sighed, asking somewhat powerlessly. Binding is one thing, now it's even stained with demon cultivator aura. How can she continue to be this righteous holy maiden? Does she have to go wandering around the world with Jiang Yungue? Jiang Yungue shook his head. Don't know, I just saw this thing, and you came in. Xia Qingyu likewise couldn't find a clue, opening her eyes and seeing that her wrist had an extra imprint, thinking it was a curse cast on her by Jiang Yungue. With no other way currently, she could only say helplessly, let's study the role of the imprint together first. 2 days passed in a flash. Jiang Yungue and Xia Qingyu stayed in the Xianyun Inn, never having gone out, and didn't know that the Lin family and the other 2 dandy families were frantically searching for their tracks. After various attempts and studies, they discovered that through the imprints on both wrists, not only could they perceive each other's general condition and position, but they could also infuse or borrow each other's power. It counted as being somewhat useful. However, Xia Qingyu clearly could not accept the existence of the imprint, especially after hearing Jiang Yungue say that she was now half a demon cultivator, which was simply killing people and attacking the heart. Soon, the time for the auction mentioned by store manager Lu arrived, and the 2 restrained their auras and headed to the Wanbao Pavilion in a low-key manner. Xia Qingyu could only entrust her hope to that shared destiny jade. If it didn't work, they would only be able to go back to the Forbidden Zone or Secret Realm to find a way to break the blood bond. At this time, the Wanbao Pavilion was bustling with noise and excitement. The entrance packed with cultivators who had come to attend the auction. There were disciples of various sects, wealthy merchant cultivators, and casual cultivators like the disguise of Jiang Yungue and Xia Qingyu. The Wanbao Pavilion's clerks diverted the crowd based on identity, assets, and other conditions. Cultivators with more background and strength were led to individual private rooms on the 2nd floor, while ordinary casual cultivators could only sit in ordinary seats in the 1st floor lobby. The rules of this Wanbao Pavilion were quite numerous. Jiang Yungue leaned on the seat in the lobby, scanning the surroundings carelessly, his gaze sweeping over the closed private rooms on the 2nd floor, whispering, "Damn, others are sitting in private rooms. We are sitting in the lobby. Are they looking down on our Tianxian sect?" Saying this, he rolled up his sleeves to reveal the imprint. How should I put it? Now I am also half a disciple of the Tianxian sect. Can I suffer this anger? Shut up. Xia Qingyu glared at him. Not long after, the auction officially began. A slender figure walked onto the auction stage, instantly attracting the eyes of all the cultivators in the house. That was a woman in a wine-red brocade dress, her figure lithe, her eyebrows exquisite, her skin white as jade. In her hand, she held a gavel, knocking lightly once, and the lobby quieted down. Welcome all fellow Taoists to attend the Wanbao Pavilion auction. I am Song Weiniang. Today, I will preside over this auction. The auction items for this auction will be presented one by one, from low grade to high grade, with everything you need. The highest bidder will obtain them. In addition, I remind fellow Taoists of one sentence. Everyone should understand the rules of the Wanbao Pavilion. I hope everyone can have a good experience at this auction. Without further ado, this auction officially begins. After the words fell, Song Weiniang raised her hand to signal the 2 clerks beside her to present the first auction item, which was an ancient-looking wooden box. The clerk placed the wooden box on the jade plate in the center of the auction stage. Song Weiniang lifted her hand lightly, and the wooden box opened automatically. 3 bottles of qi-gathering pills were neatly placed. The first auction item, 3 bottles of qi-gathering pills, 10 pieces per bottle, applicable for cultivators of the 8th or 9th layer of qi refining. The starting price is 100 low-grade spirit stones, with each increment not less than 5 low-grade spirit stones. Start bidding now. At the beginning, it was just an appetizer. Most of the bidders were low-level casual cultivators in the lobby. The bidding was not very fierce, and the 3 bottles of pills were quickly snapped up by a casual casual cultivator at the 9th layer of chi refining for 180 spirit stones. Life is hard for casual cultivator brothers. If they can't refine pills themselves, they can only try their luck at the auction. Song Weiniang signaled the clerk to collect the auction item, and present the next one, introducing it in a cold tone. The second auction item. Foundation establishment pills suitable for 9th layer chi refining cultivators. 3 in total, which can significantly increase the success rate of breaking through to the foundation establishment stage. The starting price, 500 spirit stones, with each increment not less than 10 low-grade spirit stones. After a round of bidding, the pills were snapped up by a casual cultivator at the chi refining stage whose aura was solid. That person's face was full of wild joy. He must have just arrived at the threshold of breaking through. Jiang Yungue recalled his own breakthrough to foundation establishment. It seemed to be just about of devouring, and then he broke through in a confused manner. Is this absurd? Subsequently, the auction items were presented one by one. Song Weiniang explained each item concisely and clearly, neither dragging things out, nor failing to let all cultivators clearly know the efficacy and value of the auction items. The auction items were upgraded layer by layer, and soon transitioned to the early foundation establishment stage. The third item was a green steel sword used by foundation establishment cultivators. The fourth was spirit condensing pills to stabilize the cultivation of the early foundation establishment stage. The fifth was a protective jade pendant for the foundation establishment stage. Each item bid on individually, and occasionally, sounds of bidding came from the private rooms on the second floor. Xia Qingyu remained sitting still, her gaze focused intently on the auction stage. She had no interest in those auction items used for cultivation, until Song Weiniang raised her hand to signal again, and the clerk presented an exquisite jade box. The moment the jade box opened, a pair of warm and moist jade pendants were displayed before everyone's eyes. Song Weiniang introduced. The next auction item is called the Shared Destiny Jade. This pair of jade pendants, when worn, the wearers can perceive each other's intentions, fostering a mutual understanding. In addition, perhaps there are other undiscovered effects. The starting price, 800 low-grade spirit stones, with each increment not less than 10 low-grade spirit stones. Start bidding now. The words had just fallen. A glimmer of light flashed in Xia Qingyu's eyes, and she immediately began bidding. 1,000 spirit stones. At this moment, inside a private room on the second floor, seeing Xia Qingyu's figure, Lu De was startled, and hurriedly informed the young master of the Lin family beside him. Holy crap, young master Lin, it's her. The murderer from 2 days ago is her. Lin Haoyu frowned upon hearing this. His second brother had been crippled by someone 2 days ago, and he had searched the entire Qingshan city but hadn't found the murderer. Thinking that the person had left the city overnight and run away, he didn't expect to run into her at the auction. This was truly not taking their Lin family seriously. However, due to the rules of the Wanbao Pavilion, one cannot take action at the auction. To catch someone, they must wait until the auction ends. A fierce look flashed in Lin Haoyu's eyes, looking down at Xia Qingyu in the lobby from the second floor. Want the Shared Destiny Jade, right? Watch how I don't bleed you dry. 1,010 spirit stones. Inside the private room on the second floor, Lin Haoyu sneered, and began to increase the price. Xia Qingyu frowned slightly, looking up at that private room, and followed up by increasing the price. 1,500. 1,510. The voice from the private room came again, still only increasing by 10 spirit stones, clearly just trying to disgust Xia Qingyu. Xia Qingyu squinted her eyes, realizing something was wrong, but since she needed the Shared Destiny Jade right now, she had no choice but to continue bidding. 1,800. 1,810. The repetitive bidding method even made the cultivators in the lobby see the clues, one after another whispering, looking at Xia Qingyu with a bit more fun and playfulness. This unlucky one has been targeted. A cold color flashed in Xia Qingyu's eyes, and she took a deep breath, just as she was about to continue increasing the price. Jiang Yungue beside her suddenly spoke up, his voice loud and resonant, spreading through the entire lobby. 3,000 low-grade spirit stones. As soon as this price was released, the lobby instantly quieted down. Everyone looked at Jiang Yungue with eyes like he was a fool, suspecting that he was bidding wildly. This is something you need to pull spirit stones out for. It's not something you can do just by having a loud mouth. Song Weiniang frowned slightly, thinking in her heart, should she verify his assets first? If Jiang Yungue was truly causing trouble, it would become an auction accident. But before she could think too much, the private room on the second floor followed closely with a sound of increasing the price. 3,010. Jiang Yungue, looking like he was in control of everything, followed up by increasing the price. 5,000. A glimmer of surprise flashed in Xia Qingyu's eyes, turning her head to look at Jiang Yungue, thinking to herself, didn't he say that he didn't have a single cent on him? Where did he get so many spirit stones? No, he isn't trying to scam her, is he? Seeing this scene, the surrounding cultivators started to doubt in their hearts whether the Shared Destiny Jade was really a treasure. This time, inside the private room on the second floor, Lin Haoyu didn't follow up and increase the price again. 5,000 spirit stones had already far exceeded the original value of the Shared Destiny Jade, and it was enough to disgust them. He stood up, looking down at Jiang Yungue from the second floor, just in time to see him arching his eyebrows toward the direction of the private room, his face full of disdain and provocation. See Seeing this scene, Lin Haoyu's eyes turned cold, suddenly feeling that he could increase the fire again. This person looked like he was determined to get it, and definitely wouldn't give up easily. Lin Haoyu pondered for a while, and when Song Weining was about to announce the bid for the second time, he spoke again. 5,010. The words had just fallen, and Jiang Yungue breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. Damn it, I just thought the idiot upstairs wouldn't dare to increase the price, scaring the hell out of me. The spirit stones on his body had been devoured clean within 2 days, and if he were truly held back, besides hugging Xia Qingyu's thigh, he would only be able to take out those small clothes and small toys from Fang Xiang's storage bag to pay his debts. Of course, he was a demon cultivator, and rules were completely useless to him. If he were truly stopped by the people of the Wanbao Pavilion and forced to pay, at worst, he would just kill his way out. Anyway, there was still Xia Qingyu to help. This holy maiden, you wouldn't want us all to die here together, right? And his sudden price increase just now was simply to disgust the person upstairs in return. Jiang Yungue knew very clearly that if he bid again at this moment, the idiot on the second floor would definitely not follow. After all, he had hesitated for a long time just now. Therefore, the expression on his face switched rapidly, exposing a bit of reluctance, waving his hand, and feigning regret. Forget it, forget it. Since this fellow Taoist likes it so much, then I'll leave it to you. Today, consider me unlucky. As soon as these words were out, Lin Haoyu was stunned. Your mother, weren't you looking determined just now, saying you couldn't afford to bid, and after all this time, you were just acting to me? A monstrous anger instantly surged up in his heart. Lin Haoyu slapped the tabletop violently, gritting his teeth, but hindered by the rules of the Wanbao Pavilion, he could only endure it temporarily. He stared at Jiang Yungue and Xia Qingyu, the killing intent in his eyes so full it was almost about to overflow. After the auction ends, I will definitely chop you pair of adulterers and immoral people into pieces to feed to the dogs. Xia Qingyu, seeing that it ended this way, couldn't help but be stunned, only coming back to her senses after hearing Song Weining shout the bid 3 times, and announce that Lin Haoyu had obtained the shared destiny jade. No, how can the shared destiny jade be? Before she could finish speaking, she was directly interrupted by Jiang Yungue. He lowered his voice, using a tone that only the two of them could hear. What are you in such a hurry for? Aren't they just 2 pieces of jade? If you continue to bid, do you believe the fool upstairs will continue to raise the price to spite you? Wait until the auction ends. We will go straight to kill them and seize the treasure, saving so many spirit stones. Isn't it cost effective? Kill them and seize the treasure? Xia Qingyu stared at him, her face full of disbelief. I, a dignified holy maiden of the Tianxian sect, how can I do such a thing? Jiang Yungue pointed to her wrist, preaching like an elder. You can also be a demon cultivator. Xia Qingyu, she was indeed unwilling to give up, the shared destiny jade being the only clue that might exist for the time being, and she couldn't just give it up like this. But, killing to seize the treasure, is this kind of thing really appropriate? Jiang Yungue seemed to see her entanglement, and continued to persuade. I say, Xiaoyu, reigning. Your name now is reigning Xiaoyu. One cannot be so rigid when being a person, and the bottom line can be flexibly adjusted. Xia Qingyu made a decision that went against her sect master. As the farce of the shared destiny jade came to an end, Song Weining dropped her gavel with an expressionless face, announcing that the auction item had been won by the big fool in the private room on the second floor. The subsequent auction process became much more normal. Song Weining still let the clerks bring the auction items to the stage one by one. First was the 6th auction item, a spirit tool called the mysterious iron blade suitable for the late foundation establishment stage, with a starting price of 1,000 spirit stones, finally won by a mysterious cultivator on the second floor. The 7th was the healing pill for foundation establishment general use, the healing spirit pill, with a starting price of 1,200 spirit stones, the bidding for which was exceptionally fierce. The 8th was the top-tier defensive spirit tool for the foundation establishment stage, the ice pattern armor, with the private rooms on the second floor bidding frequently, the atmosphere gradually becoming tense. After all the foundation establishment auction items had been sold, Song Weining raised her hand to signal, and the clerk presented a jewelry box inlaid with precious stones. After opening it, inside was a spiritual fruit emitting rich spiritual energy. The next auction item, red sun fruit, which can be used to stabilize golden core cultivation, helping golden core cultivators break through bottlenecks. The starting price, 5,000 spirit stones. After a fierce bidding war, the red sun fruit was finally won by a disciple of a major sect on the second floor for 8,500 spirit stones. Jiang Yungue watched these cultivators bidding crazily, unpromising tears almost flowing from the corners of his mouth. Damn it, why is everyone so rich? Am I not a golden core cultivator? Why am I still a pauper? After the red sun fruit, it arrived at the last auction item of this auction. The Wanbao Pavilion clerk carried a long jade box and placed it on the stage. As soon as it was opened, bone-chilling cold air spread to the surroundings. The sword body seemed like a piece of 10,000-year mysterious ice, sharp and incomparable, with ice mist vaguely swirling around the sword body. Song Weining began to introduce, her tone carrying a bit of solemnity. Next, is the finale treasure of this auction, a spirit tool suitable for the golden core stage, mysterious ice sword. This sword can release mysterious ice cold air, the sword body hard, and can easily cut through foundation establishment spirit spirit tools. The starting price, 10,000 spirit stones. Start bidding now. A spirit tool suitable for the Golden Core stage can be sold for more than 10,000 spirit stones. If I take out the Demon Emperor's long sword, Jiang Yungue dared not think anymore. He is truly lacking resources right now. If spirit stones and pills could be taken endlessly, he would easily break through the nascent soul stage. Why would he be afraid of being stabbed to death by Xia Qingyu and not dare to try to devour the blood bond? Not to mention whether it could succeed. He currently simply didn't dare to try. He had confidence that once the blood bond was broken, Xia Qingyu would absolutely not let him go. Finally, after a fierce bidding war, the mysterious ice sword was won by a private room on the second floor for 18,000 spirit stones. Song Weining dropped her gavel calmly. 18,000 spirit stones. Sold. This auction ends here. The fellow Taoists who won treasures can follow the clerks to the backstage for settlement. After the words fell, she nodded slightly and walked down the auction stage slowly. The cultivators in the field left the scene one after another. Jiang Yungue and Xia Qingyu deliberately slowed their pace, waiting until the cultivators in the lobby had almost left, before walking out of the Wanbao pavilion slowly. The private room on the second floor could isolate spiritual sense probing, and they waited until Lin Haoyu went to the backstage to pay money and take the shared destiny jade before locking onto his aura, preparing to take action. Seeing that Xia Qingyu was still frowning slightly, Jiang Yungue thought for a while, and decided to impart some experience to her. Ahem, let me tell you first, the most taboo thing about doing this kind of thing is letting the tiger return to the mountain and leaving hidden dangers. I won't mention the last 2 days, but this counts as the first time you are seriously doing this thing. I understand you are a righteous holy maiden, and can't quite pass that hurdle in your heart. It's fine. Oh, when the work is done in a moment, just hand over all the storage bags of those people to me, and I will bear this sin for you. Hearing Jiang Yungui's gibberish in his ear, Xia Qingyu's frown deepened. She did not speak or answer, only sighing silently in her heart. I didn't expect that she, who has directed her heart toward the righteous path and practiced chivalry all her life, would also do such a thing. Is her life, walking on thin ice, really still able to reach the other shore? The two walked forward, following the guidance of the aura. Not long after they had walked, they were blocked by a group of people. It was very obvious. The other party was also waiting for them. The leader was none other than Lin Haoyu, his face gloomy, with 5 bodyguards standing beside him, 4 of whom were in the Foundation Establishment middle stage, and 1 in the Foundation Establishment late stage, coming with fierce momentum. Yo, quite a coincidence. Jiang Yungue stopped, a playful smile hooking the corner of his mouth. Are you waiting for us? Why, after helping me bid for the shared destiny jade, did you specially come to deliver it? Lin Haoyu stared fixedly at the two, the anger almost erupting from his eyes. Damn it, a pair of adulterers. Who gave you the nerve to dare to trick me, and actually daring to take action against my Lin family? Today is the day of your death. Do it. At Lin Haoyu's order, the 5 bodyguards beside him immediately rushed forward. The Foundation Establishment late-stage bodyguard moved the fastest, holding a long saber in his hand, and while spiritual power operated, the long saber emitted a fierce cold light, slashing fiercely toward Jiang Yungue. Jiang Yungue sneered, several shadow threads having already emerged from his fingertips, silently spreading forward. At the moment the blade tip approached his body, the bodyguard was directly hung in the air, unable to move. What? The bodyguard's face was full of horror. Bye-bye. Jiang Yungue operated the spiritual power between his palms, and slapped his chest with a palm. The bodyguard flew backward, spitting blood from his mouth and nose, and before he could even scream, he kicked the bucket on the spot. Xia Qingyu was even fiercer in her attack than him. Lin Haoyu shouting, adulterer and immoral woman, could be considered to have added a rage buff to her. Jiang Yungue consciously withdrew his hand, leaving the battlefield to Xia Qingyu to display her ability. He raised his eyebrows and looked at Lin Haoyu, as if saying, who shouldn't you have provoked? You just had to provoke her. Xia Qingyu's long sword moved, her cultivation in the golden core middle stage revealing itself. In an instant, sword shadows fell like rain, sweeping across the whole world. Just within a fleeting instant, all 5 bodyguards became cannon fodder. Lin Haoyu knelt down on the spot, scared into kneeling by Xia Qingyu's sword intent that was like a giant dragon roaring. His face was pale, his face full of fear. He never expected that these 2 seemingly ordinary casual cultivators would actually be golden core powerhouses. Your mother. Why didn't the golden core powerhouse slay my second brother at once? Why would a golden core powerhouse sit in the lobby on the first floor at the auction? After all this, they were still acting to him. You, who on earth are you? Lin Haoyu's voice trembled, wanting to run away, but his ankle was entangled by a shadow thread flicked by Jiang Yungue, and he fell to the ground with a thump. Jiang Yungue walked up slowly, looking down at him from a high position. I am Guafeng, blowing wind. She is Xia Yu, raining. Remember to be careful when you see us in your next life. After saying that, he condensed his fingertips, and shot out a strand of spiritual power, instantly ending Lin Haoyu's life. Xia Qingyu. She seemed to understand why Jiang Yungue would take that strange name. After all this time, it's blowing wind and raining, is this right? The name she gave was clearly Xia Yu, raining. Jiang Yungue didn't care about her, happily hooking over all the storage bags of the several people with shadow threads, still muttering in his mouth. Sin sins are heavy, but fortunately, I am a demon cultivator, so this sin will be borne by me alone. Xia Qingyu stared at him, wanting to speak but stopping herself, finally remaining too lazy to explain. Only reaching out to demand the shared destiny jade. That is the only hope at present. If it doesn't work, they can only go to a secret realm or forbidden zone to search. But that kind of blind searching without direction would likely be in vain. Jiang Yungue flipped through them, and in Lin Haoyu's storage bag, he found 2 jade pendants in a jade box. Ahem, both had merit. It's reasonable for us to have one each, right? Jiang Yungue, worried that Xia Qingyu would truly find a method, first only gave out 1 jade pendant. Xia Qingyu was too lazy to argue with him, reaching out and taking the shared destiny jade, gently caressing the jade pendant with her fingertips. The jade pendant was warm and moist, radiating a faint spiritual light. At this moment, it just happened that each of them had a jade pendant in their hands, and a weak spiritual power flowed between the two. Strange feelings arose in their hearts at the same time. It could indeed simply perceive the existence of the other party, but that was all there was to it, without any other auxiliary effect. The effect was better than nothing, even failing to compare with the imprints on their wrists. Xia Qingyu was unwilling to give up, investigating the jade pendant carefully again, and suddenly discovering that a cultivation technique was hidden inside the jade pendant. Tong Xianju heart-linked technique. She viewed the content of the technique quickly, silently reciting the recorded characters in her heart. Requires leading the fusion of both parties' spiritual power, following the yin and yang complementary balance, with shared mind origin. After viewing only half of it, Xia Qingyu's expression stiffened slightly. Not right. This is a dual cultivation technique. Useless. Completely useless. A feeling of powerlessness arose in Xia Qingyu's heart. She was confused. How on earth can the blood bond be broken? This kind of altar formation existing in the forbidden zone, simply couldn't find a clue at all. Beside her, Jiang Yungue, after feeling it carefully, commented, "This jade pendant, I feel it's not even as good as the imprints on our hands." Xia Qingyu, she had nothing to say. Through the dual fetters of the sword-shaped imprint and the shared destiny jade, Jiang Yungue could generally perceive that Xia Qingyu's emotions were not quite right. Thinking about it, it made sense, pressing most of the hope on the shared destiny jade, not to mention being able to break the blood bond directly, at least giving some direction for effort, right? But the result was only a dual cultivation technique. Who could hold up under this? He had the discernment to not say much more, silently putting the storage bags away. These are all steps on his path toward becoming a powerhouse. Wait until he is a bit stronger. He will try to devour the blood bond. If it can truly be erased, he will directly preempt the move, grabbing Xia Qingyu and refining her in an instant. If it can't be devoured, then talk about it later. Future things cannot affect the self of the present. As the old saying goes, pre-anxiety is equivalent to borrowing money to eat sh*t. He still can't try it now. He is still a distance away from the middle golden core stage. The treasures looted from the stronghold last time were all cheated away by half. And currently, he must definitely protect these few storage bags well. Have to say, this Lin family is truly rich. He wanted to play landlord. Xia Qingyu adjusted quickly. And of course, it might be that there was no other way. After Jiang Yungue reminded her that if they didn't leave now, and someone in the city found out they were the murderers, it would likely be a kill-out. Xia Qingyu decided to take Jiang Yungue with her toward the secret realm that would open soon. Jiang Yungue originally wanted to indicate that the secret realm was dangerous, and that his personal safety could not be guaranteed, and that he had to add money. But thinking about himself having just privately swallowed all the storage bags, and Xia Qingyu seeing it all in her eyes, it clearly wasn't appropriate to say this now. 1% chance to get money, 99% chance to trigger a combat plot. Forget it, forget it. Anyway, if there is danger, she is basically the one charging in front. It's just a secret realm. If we go, we go. The secret realm about to open is located in the Luoxia mountain range. Xia Qingyu had known about it before, because the location of the Luoxia secret realm was relatively awkward for all the major sects, and coupled with various reasons for disputes among all parties over the years, it made the secret realm not controlled by any sect, but opened fully to cultivators across the world. Regardless of sect disciples or casual cultivators, everyone could enter. After entering, whether it is life or death, everything depends on fate. The Luoxia secret realm opens every 60 years, and this time, the Tianxian sect should have been led by Xia Qingyu. But now, there was no way. She could only think of a way to break the blood bond as soon as possible. Currently, the binding with Jiang Yungue is deepening, and if it truly cannot be broken, she will never be able to return to the sect again. She is the holy maiden of the Tianxian sect. She cannot accept this result. Qingshan City is not very close to the Luoxia mountain range, even though both of them, as golden core cultivators, needed several days of traveling, so there was no delay. After making the decision, Xia Qingyu took Jiang Yungue out of the city at the first opportunity. The big brother on duty at the city gate today was still that same one. Remembering what the big brother had said to him when entering the city, Jiang Yungue couldn't help but twitch the corner of his mouth. He truly hadn't caused much trouble. He just killed a few people. Big brother, the path of the world is long. Let's meet again if fate allows. When Jiang Yungue left, he didn't forget to wave to the big brother. The big brother saw Jiang Yungue looked very familiar, but couldn't think of who he was for a moment, and could only scratch his head head first and reply, "Alright, see you again," watching Jiang Yungue and Xia Qingyu move away. Looking at their figures, that sense of familiarity in his heart became more intense. He felt they were some very important people. Who were they? Who were they? He couldn't think of it. The big brother scratched his head, looking left and right, suddenly seeing the wanted notice posted on the wall. Holy crap, they are wanted criminals. I'll go to your mother's, meet again if fate allows. The big brother turned his head to look again, discovering that the two of them had long ago disappeared. At dusk, the sunset sank into the western mountains, the twilight gathered, and a cold wind blew one after another, rolling the withered leaves on the ground and rustling. Jiang Yungue and Xia Qingyu did not travel through the night. Their luck was considered okay, unexpectedly discovering a ruined temple on the way, temporarily choosing it as their place to stay the night. The ruined temple seemed to have been abandoned for many years, broken walls and ruins filled with weeds, the front door tilting and leaning against the wall. When Jiang Yungue pushed it open, it even emitted a creak, an ear-piercing sound, very much in the style of a horror movie. Unfortunately, he was already a golden core cultivator, and even if they were real demons and ghosts, they couldn't scare him. Remember, all fear comes from insufficient firepower, and he, in the golden core stage, can be understood as a fragrant and soft big nuclear bomb. Jiang Yungue first stepped into the temple, spiritual power covering his whole body, scanning the circle. Except for the dilapidated scene, he did not see anyone else. The statue in the center had long since collapsed and broken, filled with dust and spider webs, the incense burner on the offering table broken, ash scattered all over the ground, and the ground covered with broken tiles and dry branches. The air was filled with a stale smell of dust. It is a bit dilapidated, but at least it's better than blowing cold wind in the wild. Inside the temple, after dividing the Chu River and Han boundary, Jiang Yungue and Xia Qingyu sat on one side and adjusted their breath, not disturbing each other. A rare sense of peace. If there was no accident, they would maintain this state until the sun and moon rotated and the morning sun rose, and then continue to step on the road to the secret realm. But unfortunately, a suddenly appearing whimpering sound broke the quiet in the ruined temple. Jiang Yungue arched his eyebrows slightly, turning his head to look at the statue with Xia Qingyu at the same time. The sound was floating from behind the statue, fragmented and mournful, like a gust of wind that suddenly blew up. If you didn't listen carefully, it was hard to discover. What kind of thing is it? Trying to scare us? Jiang Yungue moved a shadow thread with his fingertips, searching along the whimpering sound. A moment later, he was completely dumbfounded. No, brother, is there actually a ghost? Perhaps affected by the touch of the shadow thread, a translucent ghost figure of a woman slowly floated out from behind the statue. A real ghost? Xia Qingyu's eyes narrowed slightly, seeming surprised that she hadn't discovered its existence when she first came in. Jiang Yungue subconsciously took half a step back, and after confirming there was no danger, only then did he look at the ghost who kept murmuring and shout, "Holy crap, where did you pop out from? Is this your home?" He had been in this world for 2 years, and he hadn't not seen ghost souls. On the contrary, staying in the demonic sect, he had truly seen this thing a lot of times. A certain elder of the heavenly demon sect once tried to refine the 10,000 soul banner, claiming that once the banner appeared, 10,000 souls would howl. The result, of course, was that the demonic sect was wiped out before it could even succeed. Currently, this female ghost's figure was fluttering, her eyes empty and without spirit, wearing a shabby, coarse cloth dress, surrounded by death energy, her aura so weak that it was not even reaching the first layer of chi refining. Simple evaluation. At most, it could only scare people. Xia Qingyu glanced at him, her gaze like looking at a fool. This should have been a mortal who died near the ruined temple. Because of some obsession or some special reasons, it led to resentment entangling her body. After death, her soul could not enter reincarnation, always staying in this temple. Her aura is too weak, and her consciousness is chaotic, so she can't carry out normal communication. So there is a grievance, huh? Jiang Yungue clicked his tongue twice, suddenly thinking of something, his corners of the mouth hooking, turning his head to look at Xia Qingyu and asking, "Isn't the holy maiden most fond of upholding justice? Are you going to stand up for this female ghost?" Xia Qingyu stared into his eyes upon hearing this, expressionless. First, not all ghost souls have grievances. She might have loved someone but couldn't be with them. She might have had regrets, or she might have had other reasons that led to resentment entangling her. Second, I am a holy maiden, but not a saint. I still have my own things to do. The secret realm is about to open, and nothing is more important than finding a way to break the blood bond. Fine, fine. Jiang Yungue shrugged his shoulders, not surprised by Xia Qingyu's answer. Beside her, the floating female ghost seemed unaware of their existence, constantly floating around everywhere in the temple, while repeatedly mumbling some indistinct words in her mouth. Neither of them knew the technique of transcendence, unable to help the female ghost toward reincarnation, and if they forcibly erased the female ghost, it would cause her to completely disappear from the world, without any possibility of reincarnation. Xia Qingyu indicated that she was just a wandering ghost soul without a threat, and hadn't done evil, so forcibly erasing her was too cruel for her. It was better to wait until the blood bond was solved, when she would learn a technique of transcendence, and then come to help the female ghost enter reincarnation. Jiang Yungue didn't have much opinion on this. He just felt that Xia Qingyu was randomly planting a flag here, and the day the blood bond was dissolved was becoming increasingly remote. He truly didn't know where her confidence came from. Hey, where are you from? What is your name? How did you die in this ruined temple? Did you encounter something difficult? Tell me about it. I count as half a disciple of the Tianxian sect now, and upholding justice and eliminating demons is my behavioral guideline. Because the female ghost was constantly floating around the temple, and mumbling words he couldn't understand, Jiang Yungue had to first fix her with a shadow thread, thinking that since he was idle, he might as well try to see if there was any possibility of communication for the ghost soul. After a bout of trying, the result was as expected. The female ghost had no reaction to his words, her eyes empty and without any focus, as if everything around her had nothing to do with her. Xia Qingyu sat cross-legged not far away, hearing Jiang Yungue babble for half a day with the female ghost, feeling speechless in her heart, calling himself half a disciple of the Tianxian sect, always feeling like he is provoking her. Damn demon cultivator. It's useless. No matter how much you ask, she can't understand you. She is a ghost soul, and her consciousness has only left a chaotic void. Xia Qingyu sighed, wanting to be quiet. Jiang Yungue, hearing this, just wanted to retort. You hillbilly holy maiden. People and ghosts can fall in love. What's wrong with chatting? But just at this moment, a strange scene suddenly occurred. The female ghost stopped mumbling, and in her originally chaotic eyes, a hint of clarity suddenly revealed itself. Her lips trembled slightly, and a hoarse voice actually rang out from her mouth slowly. I am called Suyu. Jiang Yungue and Xia Qingyu were stunned at the same time. SP spoke. The two looked at each other, surprise appearing in their eyes. Didn't hear wrong. She really opened her mouth and spoke. Xia Qingyu immediately stood up, her expression solemn, walking quickly to pursue more information. But before she could even open her mouth, that hint of clarity in the ghost's eyes faded instantly, restoring the previous chaotic state, starting again to mumble those obscure and difficult words, as if the clarity just now was just an illusion of the two. How did you do that just now? Xia Qingyu said after a silence, looking at Jiang Yungue and asking. She couldn't understand, and couldn't think it through. Damn it, she can truly chat with a ghost? What did you do to the female ghost? Are you a person or a ghost? Jiang Yungue first looked at the Chu River and Han boundary divided between the two at the beginning, and coughed lightly, saying, that, you crossed the line. Xia Qingyu. She opened her mouth, silently stepping back a few steps. After returning to the position belonging to her, she asked again, how did you make her open her mouth and speak? Jiang Yungue shook his head, spreading his hands. Haven't you been watching from the side the whole time? I asked her all sorts of things. Who would have thought she would actually answer? Is this absurd? Annoying the ghost into speaking human words. Xia Qingyu felt very outrageous. Jiang Yungue also felt curious in his heart. He didn't give up, continuing to try chatting with the female ghost, asking about her background, cause of death, asking what the words she mumbled meant. But the female ghost never responded again, only mechanically repeating those words, her eyes empty and without any waves. In the blink of an eye, half the night passed. The sky was still pitch black. Jiang Yungue was thirsty from chatting, and seeing the female ghost always have no reaction, he simply took out a few low-grade spirit stones from his storage bag, marked them with two kinds of imprints, then used the demon emperor's black sword to draw a 5-in-a-row chessboard on the ground, then picked up a spirit stone, and waved at the female ghost. Anyway, I can't chat with you. Come, accompany me to play a game of Go. If you lose, tell me how you died. If you win, I'll tell you where I came from. How about it? Xia Qingyu, seeing this, only felt that he had gone crazy. Why would someone think about playing 5 in a row with a female ghost who has no consciousness? Has this world really not been destroyed yet? Jiang Yungue didn't care about the look like looking at a fool beside him. He picked up a spirit stone representing the black chess, and placed it on the chessboard, then signaled the female ghost to move. In his eyes, there was a bit of anticipation. What made people never expect was, the female ghost actually stared at the chessboard and pondered for a moment, reaching out to pick up a spirit stone, and placing it on the chessboard. What kind of situation is this again? The female ghost was manipulated by you? Jiang Yungue actually hadn't expected it could truly work. A bit of seriousness appeared on his face, continuing to move. The female ghost also followed up with a move, step by step, methodically. A moment later, the sound of Jiang Yungue's undoing the move rang out. No, I didn't see you place it here. Just now didn't count. Let's restart. It's hard to imagine a normal person being able to play 5 in a row with a female ghost without consciousness, and actually losing. Xia Qingyu was completely stupid. Jiang Yungue's operation of undoing the move confused the female ghost. She stared blankly at the chessboard, directly crashing. Jiang Yungue coughed lightly, trying to explain to her that this was a conventional operation in playing chess. But before the words could even leave his mouth, the clarity in the ghost's eyes surfaced once again, and it was clearer than the last time. She raised her head, looking at Jiang Yungue and Xia Qingyu, in an instant as if she had found back all her memories, kneeling on the ground and kowtowing heavily to the two, her voice carrying a crying tone and thick pleading, tears sliding down from her empty eye sockets, turning into dots of cold air. Two immortals. I beg you, please, I beg you to save our village. Save everyone. I was killed by someone. I'm afraid the people of our entire village have already met with misfortune. I beg you, you must save them. Jiang Yungue blinked, a bit not responding. What kind of situation? Triggered a hidden plot? Xia Qingyu's heart was shaken, and she hurriedly walked up, her expression solemn. Don't be agitated. Speak slowly. Where is your village? What happened? The female ghost sobbed, stuttering and saying, our village is right to the east of this ruined temple, called Qingzhou Village. That night, it wasn't dark yet. On my way back to the village, I met a weird person wearing a black robe. He said he would choose this place to set up a formation, to sacrifice. Speaking of this, the female ghost's emotions became abnormally agitated, and the death energy around her became even thicker. Her body started trembling. Xia Qingyu wanted to tell her not to be so agitated, but obviously, the female ghost had already completely lost control of herself. The clarity in her eyes faded, her gaze becoming empty once again, and she started mumbling those obscure and difficult words in her mouth again, completely returning to a state of madness. No matter how the two questioned or shouted, there was not a single response. The situation is not simple. Xia Qingyu frowned slightly. Slaughtering mortal villagers, and wanting to set up a formation to sacrifice. It is very likely the work of a demon cultivator. Indeed, Jiang Yungue nodded, glancing at the chessboard on the ground that couldn't be finished anymore, and said, however, I haven't lost this game yet. Xia Qingyu, stinky chess lover who can't even beat a female ghost. Can you not care about that dispensable face? Xia Qingyu took a deep breath, looked at Jiang Yungue and said, let's go to Qingzhou village quickly now. Maybe we can still save the people in the village. Jiang Yungue didn't care much about the action, but remembering Xia Qingyu's previous words, he still habitually acted a bit cheaply. Forgot the front, forgot the back. Anyway, I am a holy maiden, not a saint, and solving the blood bond is the most important. Do you want to die? When that sword was only 0.01 centimeters from his throat, Jiang Yungue immediately admitted defeat. The two no longer delayed. Jiang Yungue packed up the spirit stones, and randomly added a low-level concealment formation to the ruined temple, preventing the female ghost from being discovered by other cultivators passing by and being directly erased. At this time, the night was fading, and a fish-belly white appeared on the edge of the sky. But the depths of the dense forest were still dark and damp. The sky-high ancient trees covered the sky and the sun, light unable to penetrate the gaps in the leaves, the ground filled with fallen leaves and moss. The two advanced quickly toward the east of the ruined temple. About 10 minutes later, the edge of the sky became completely bright, and the morning light struggled to penetrate the gaps between the leaves and spilled on the ground, forming mottled light and shadows. The two walked east for I don't know how far, and finally saw the silhouette of a village. If there was no accident, that should be the Qingzhou village the female ghost talked about. However, the outskirts of the village were silent, without the slightest sign of people coming out, even without chickens crowing or dogs barking, the whole thing exuding a strange, deathly silence. Jiang Yungue and Xia Qingyu's heart sank, and they quickened their pace, walking into Qingzhou village. As soon as they stepped into the village, they realized they had come a step too late. The entire village was empty, without a trace of living human aura. In the village, the doors of every household were wide open, farm tools in the courtyards placed randomly, and on some tables, meals that hadn't been finished were still placed, all having been ice-cold and deteriorated, clearly having been placed for a long time. Clothes dried in the courtyard were blown by the wind until they were teetering, and under the old locust tree at the entrance of the village, there were still several children's toys, but not a single child silhouette could be seen. Jiang Yungue frowned tightly, operating the shadow thread with his fingertips, carefully investigating the aura in the village. A moment later, he felt his scalp tingling. All dead, not a single living person. Xia Qingyu's anger could not be hidden in her eyes. After releasing her perception to investigate, she said in a deep voice, it was done by a demon cultivator. He killed all the mortals in the village, and set up a demonic formation in the village, specially used to imprison ghost souls and gather death energy. The two walked along the small road in the village, walking into several families. In the corners of the houses, beside the stove, on the beds, all saw the corpses of villagers. The corpses' complexions were blue and purple, eyes wide open, with the fear and pain before death remaining on their faces, and imprints used by the demon cultivator to collect death energy remaining on their bodies. Jiang Yungue saw at a glance that it was the work of his fellow countrymen from the heavenly demon sect. Damn it! No wonder Xia Qingyu crazily chased him after seeing that he was a remnant of the heavenly demon sect. Doing such an unconscionable thing, even he couldn't stand watching it. Fortunately, he was now half a person of the Tianxian sect, thanks to the blood bond. Xia Qingyu did not speak, but the terrifying sword intent emitted from her body had already indicated her current mood. That, I am a good person, and have never done such a thing. Jiang Yungue felt it was necessary to defend himself. Xia Qingyu did not reply, looking up at the top of the village, where that great formation was still operating. The demon cultivator should still be in the village. Let's go find him now. The words had just fallen, and before Jiang Yungue could express support, a cold, chilly laugh suddenly sounded from the ancestral hall in the center of the village. Ha ha ha, I didn't expect that there would actually be two hairy boys daring to break into my soul-gathering and life-offering great formation. Are you here to find me? Are you here to find me? Accompanied accompanying the cold voice, coming out from the ancestral hall together, was a black-robed silhouette. His face was gloomy, his eyes pitch black like ink, without a hint of white in the eyes. The demon cultivator looked toward Jiang Yungue and Xia Qingyu, a hint of surprise flashing in his eyes first, then immediately becoming sinister. Oh, they are actually two golden core cultivators. Being able to find this place where birds don't poop, truly a surprise. However, as long as it is within this great formation of mine, don't talk about two golden core cultivators. Even if 10 come, they can only obediently turn into nourishment for refining living souls. Very crazy, very arrogant. Jiang Yungue squinted his eyes, not remembering that there was such a character in the heavenly demon sect. Golden core stage. Basically, they were all at the level of sect elders, and to be able to survive that round of encirclement and killing. This damn thing is truly hard to kill. No, wait, it seems like I scolded myself too, Jiang Yungue secretly complained, his spiritual thoughts probing into his storage bag, taking out the demon emperor's black sword. Xia Qingyu likewise held a long sword, her face solemn. Just by perceiving the aura, she could see, this demon cultivator was very strong, cannot be careless, abandon resistance early, and become the final nourishment for my formation. The demon cultivator gave a jia laugh, his black robe hunting, raising his hand to directly trigger the formation covering the entire Qingzhou village. In an instant, the ground trembled violently, and above the village, a formation light curtain filled with death energy appeared. The wailing sounds of countless grieving souls sounded in every corner of the village, the sound mournful and ear-piercing. The formation patterns around the ancestral hall flashed wildly, death energy and demonic energy intertwined and entangled, spreading to the entire village along the formation patterns, finally converging a majestic power and pouring out from the formation, all pouring into the demon cultivator's body. Ah, I lack nothing now. The demon cultivator's aura instantly climbed, from golden core middle stage, to golden core late stage, then to golden core peak stage. A pity, squeezing these mortals dry still couldn't let me reach the nascent soul stage. The demon cultivator twisted his neck, staring at the two in front and sneering. However, if you add the two of you, it should be almost there. Jiang Yungue and Xia Qingyu both understood the principle of striking first to gain the upper hand, so the moment the demon cultivator started the formation, they had already flashed their silhouettes, and swung their swords to kill toward him. Xia Qingyu stepped into the air, sword shadows pouring down like moonlight. When the sword body cut through the sky, a white sword chi suddenly burst forth. Tianxian sword technique, cold river crossing the moon. Yo, they are actually people from the Tianxian sect. Seeing this sword technique, the demon cultivator immediately laughed angrily, demonic energy surging. Then I have to entertain you well. He stretched out his hand and gripped in the air, and a bone sword emitting rich death energy appeared directly in his hand. Then, with just a simple lift of his hand and a swing of the sword, a black sword chi several feet long, roared out. Wherever it passed, space was corroded and twisted, and a long trench was also plowed in the ground. The two sword chis collided, transmitting a loud boom. The air waves swept to all sides, and Xia Qingyu was shaken back several steps, while the demon cultivator still looked at her with a grin. With the blessing of the great formation, his strength had obtained an extreme improvement. Under the nascent soul stage, almost no one could do anything to him anymore. Just at this moment, Jiang Yungue, who had been hiding his silhouette, suddenly appeared behind the demon cultivator, his black sword changing from a slash to a stab, the sword tip pointing directly at the demon cultivator's heart. But the demon cultivator seemed to have expected it long ago, turning around to sweep a moment in advance. Bone sword and black sword collided, sending out an ear-piercing sound. Death energy spread toward Jiang Yungue's body through the sword edge. Jiang Yungue's eyebrows jumped, feeling something was wrong, and could only fly backward along the anti-shock force, opening the distance from the demon cultivator. Naive, in my formation, you actually dare to act like a mouse? The demon cultivator sneered, his silhouette moving again, raising his sword to kill toward Xia Qingyu. People of the Tianxian sect, he must torture them severely, letting her know what is called seeking life without getting it, seeking death without getting it. Xia Qingyu frowned tightly, understanding that she couldn't fight hard temporarily, and had to think of a way to destroy the formation covering Qingzhou village first. She exerted the Tianxian sect body technique, stepping on the moon, her silhouette moving constantly, dodging the bone sword full of death energy from the demon cultivator, gathering the death energy of unknown numbers of mortals. Once hit, it was very likely that impacts that were hard to deal with would occur. Jiang Yungue heard the demon cultivator's mockery just now, realizing that even secret techniques of the demon emperor's inheritance could not hide his aura within the great formation. Of course, it was also possible his level wasn't enough, but he didn't need to think about those now, because Xia Qingyu's situation was very dangerous. The blood bond is still there. Don't you drag me down. Jiang Yungue first devoured the bit of death energy contaminated on his body, preventing sudden unexpected changes, then immediately rushed forward, helping Xia Qingyu share the pressure. The demon emperor's black sword body was pitch black like ink, without a bit of luster, yet exuding heart-palpitating killing intent. Shadow killing thousand blades. Jiang Yungue drank secretly in his heart, his silhouette shaking, differentiating into dozens of residual shadows, true and false hard to distinguish in an instant. The black sword danced unceasingly in his hand. Countless fierce sword beams like a torrential torrential downpour, slashing wildly toward the demon cultivator in front. The demon cultivator faced the sky-filling sword shadows without panic, turning around and waving the bone sword to sweep out. A ring-shaped sword chi burst forth, instantly shattering all the sword shadows. Xia Qingyu seized this fleeting opportunity, her wrist shaking lightly, her long sword suddenly spinning, clear sword beams flowing like moonlight, collapsing into sky-filling fine white sword shadows, dangling down from the 9 heavens. The sound of sword chi breaking the air rang out, countless cold beams intertwining like a starry river hanging upside down, sword intent rushing straight into the sky. Tianxian sword technique, stars falling from the 9 heavens. Perceiving the fierce killing intent coming from above, the demon cultivator's expression remained composed, raising his hand and pressing toward the sky. A barrier transformed from demonic energy forcibly took all the sword chi. Is your strength only this much? It's hard to make me enjoy it to the fullest. He sneered, as if he had just warmed up his body. If you have no other tricks, throw away your sword and wait for death quickly. After all, in this great formation, my power is endless. The words had just fallen. The demon cultivator's silhouette disappeared from where he was, killing toward Xia Qingyu again. He could see that Jiang Yungue was also a demon cultivator, and although he didn't know why he would mix with Tianxian sect disciples, it didn't matter anymore, because they all had to die here. Only a matter of time. Jiang Yungue and Xia Qingyu looked at each other. The two didn't say a single word, yet understood from the other party's eyes what they wanted to express. Must destroy the formation first. They didn't discuss it, clearly knowing what they should do with tacit understanding. The blood bond binds the lives of the two. When someone's injury reaches a certain degree, it will trigger the injury-sharing function of the blood bond. Xia Qingyu's strength is stronger, responsible for blocking the demon cultivator. Jiang Yungue going to destroy the formation. The speed must be fast, otherwise, the two of them will die here today. Jiang Yungue didn't hesitate, his silhouette flashing, heading straight for the ancestral hall in the center of the village. The death energy in that place was so rich it was about to condense into substance. Without thinking, he knew it was definitely related to the formation. Xia Qingyu took a deep breath, spiritual power in her whole body rising, surging, roaring sword intent centered on her, turning into a hurricane and charging and roaring at the surroundings. Tianxian sect secret technique, inverted star heaven seizing technique. She held the flowing frost sword, stepping on the moon body technique exerted to the extreme, her silhouette like a white light, forcibly blocking the demon cultivator who was going to intercept Jiang Yungue. Majestic white sword chi rushed straight into the sky, sword shadows crisscrossing, sword force fierce. Tianxian sword technique, sword breaking the firmament. Damn it, in a hurry to find death, are you? The demon cultivator roared, backhand taking the sword move of Xia Qingyu with one sword, feeling the pressure for the first time. Spare the chatter. Xia Qingyu's offensive did not stop, the time supported by the secret technique being limited. She had to drag the demon cultivator as long as possible. Although the demon cultivator showed a look of urgency, he didn't think Jiang Yungue could destroy the formation in an extremely short time. The demonic energy around his body started to burn, raging flames burning on the bone sword. Since this is the case, then I will kill you first. In an instant, Xia Qingyu's pressure multiplied, several places on her body being scorched by the demonic flames, blood staining her clothes red, and the death energy remaining at the wound crazily eroding the spiritual power in her body. The time that the inverted star heaven seizing technique could maintain was shortening at an extremely fast speed. On the other side, inside the ancestral hall, Jiang Yungue, who had just rushed in, couldn't help but swear, holy crap. In the center of the ancestral hall hangs a huge black crystal stone, death energy surging around the crystal stone, constantly impacting toward the surroundings like a tsunami. Jiang Yungue had just come in when he was plastered with a face of death energy, almost kicking his legs and lying on the ground on the spot. If it weren't for the devouring ability not picking at anything, he would currently find it difficult even to approach the crystal stone. Damn, wanting to use this thing to break through the nascent soul stage. Aren't you afraid a ghost will pop out from the golden core? Jiang Yungue struggled to walk to the side of the crystal stone, perceiving the death energy inside it dozens of times richer than the outside, unable to help but complain in his heart. Just how many people were killed for this? He knew Xia Qingyu was under great pressure, and if she couldn't hold on, they would all have to die. So, he didn't have the slightest hesitation, raising the black sword in his hand, and then slashing down with all his might. Clang! The sword edge slashed open the death energy, and slashed directly onto the crystal stone. But the scene of the crystal stone crashing and shattering as expected did not appear, and dense formation patterns lit up on the crystal stone's surface. Countless grieving souls wrapped in mournful screams surging out wildly from within. Not only did it take the strike of the black sword, but the huge rebound force transmitted also shook Jiang Yungue back several steps. His arm numb. Grass. So hard. Jiang Yungue frowned. Heavenly demon blood burning. Open for me. Essence blood gushed out from the pores. Spiritual power around his body crazily rising. Pitch black demonic energy lingering around his whole body. His aura instantly rising to the peak. He gritted his teeth and slashed with his sword again. Behind him vaguely surfaced a towering demon emperor phantom. The sense of oppression extremely strong. Even the surging death energy around was almost stagnant at this moment. The next second, boom! A roar far more violent than before exploded. The agitated air waves sweeping out, churning away more than half half of the death energy inside the ancestral hall. Seeing this, Xia Qingyu's eyes flashed a glimmer of light. The demon cultivator was startled first. Then a more unbridled laugh erupted from his mouth. Because the great formation was still operating. Ha ha ha, giving you a chance. But you are useless. The demon cultivator completely set his mind at ease. Returning to the stance of toying with prey at the very beginning, he looked toward Xia Qingyu, his tone mocking. You should be about unable to hold on, right? Doing these useless resistances is just looking for suffering for yourself. Do you know how long I have prepared for this great formation? For the sake of preparing to break through the nascent soul stage, you should feel honored to be able to become the final nourishment for my great formation. Ha ha ha. Xia Qingyu's heart sank. If Jiang Yungue still couldn't destroy the formation when the backlash of the secret technique arrived, then the two of them would truly die here today. It was hard to say clearly how she felt at the moment, but if asked if she had accepted her fate, no. Before the dust settled, she would never admit defeat. As long as there was still strength, even if the hope was slim, she would definitely slash her sword forward. Xia Qingyu suppressed her thoughts, not letting her mindset be affected, the long sword in her hand waving. Tianxian sword technique being used one after another. Sword moves were fierce, offensive fierce. Unfortunately, the secret technique could no longer help her maintain her state, the pain of the backlash gradually emerging from all parts of her body. The demon cultivator sneered, seeing that Xia Qingyu's state was sliding downward at a speed visible to the naked eye, and not intending to waste any more time. It's useless. You simply can't hurt me. Xia Qingyu gritted her teeth and didn't speak, only blindly striking with her sword, not sure how long she could hold on. Perhaps she would have her life ended by the demon cultivator's bone sword in the next second. The demon cultivator's laughter echoed in the village, as if announcing that his plan was finally about to be completed, the nascent soul stage being close at hand. But suddenly, a situation that made Xia Qingyu feel surprised happened. The pain of the backlash that had just appeared was rapidly fading, strength pouring into her body again, even the death energy that couldn't be dealt with for a moment all dissipating. She was stunned for a moment. The next second, a sound of breaking echoed above Qingzhou village. The formation, broken. Time dials back a few seconds. Inside the ancestral hall, Jiang Yungue, who had been shaken back several steps again, by the rebound force, was completely dumbfounded. Damn it, it can't even be cut. Then how are we supposed to play this? Not believing it, he rushed up and slashed a series of blows, as if stacking combos. Yet he still couldn't cut even a single crack in the crystal. Now he believed it, and he was completely enraged. Damn it, if I can't slash you to pieces, can't I suck you dry? Jiang Yungue hardened his heart, thinking that he was going to die anyway. Who cares if the death energy has an impact? He walked to the side of the crystal, raised his hand to press it, and started devouring with all his might. The power inside the crystal was too violent. Even with the devouring ability, he couldn't suppress it immediately. Jiang Yungue gave a muffled groan, blood spilling from the corner of his mouth, and waves of sharp pain coming from his meridians, almost being blown up by the majestic death energy. He continuously activated the heavenly demon blood burning, stabilizing himself while frantically consuming the power within his body. Just at this moment, Xia Qingyu's secret technique backlash shared the injuries through the blood bond. In an instant, Jiang Yungue seemed to have thought of something, hurriedly pouring all the power in his body, which was so full it was about to overflow, into the sword-shaped imprint on his hand. It really works. A bright light lit up in Jiang Yungue's eyes. After absorbing almost enough, he swung his sword toward the crystal again. This time, amidst a crisp crack, the crystal, drained of its power, completely shattered, turning into fly ash and drifting away. The formation, broken. Jiang Yungue breathed a sigh of relief, lying on the ground, silently pouring power into the imprint, leaving the rest to Xia Qingyu. He couldn't do it anymore, devouring too much at once, and it was all damn death energy. Not only did he feel his body was about to explode, but the sounds of grieving souls crying and howling flashed frantically in front of his eyes and in his ears. Damn it, too late to digest it. He had to hurry up and clean out the death energy. Outside the ancestral hall, seeing the formation suddenly shatter, the demon cultivator was completely stunned. How is this possible? Just a golden core early stage cultivator. How could he destroy a crystal that required nascent soul stage power to shatter? This is impossible. The power inside the crystal was only a sliver away from being completely complete. Even he couldn't shatter the crystal. This is absolutely impossible. The demon cultivator was stunned on the spot, simply not believing the scene before his eyes. He turned his head to look in the direction of the ancestral hall, his eyes full of monstrous hatred. His great formation, his realm, his breakthrough opportunity, all gone. Die for me. The demon cultivator let out a mournful roar, but having lost the blessing of the great formation, his realm quickly fell back to the golden core middle stage, no longer able to suppress Xia Qingyu. Not to mention that Xia Qingyu was now connected to a remote charging treasure, the sword-shaped imprint on her wrist emitting bright white light. Although she didn't know how Jiang Yungue did it, she knew that the roles of attacker and defender had reversed. Tianxian sword technique, sword breaking the firmament. With one sword strike, the demon cultivator had no power to resist, swept away and flying backward by the overbearing sword chi, continuously crashing and collapsing dozens of houses in the village, finally falling into a pile of rubble. Xia Qingyu didn't give him any time to catch his breath, raising her sword and flying forward. A hint of fear flashed in the demon cultivator's cultivator's eyes. He knew that his trend had passed, and there was no winning chance anymore. The enmity of today, I will keep in mind, and will definitely repay it 100-fold in the future. The demon cultivator gritted his teeth and roared, triggering the remaining power in his body, his silhouette turning into a black shadow, fleeing toward the depths of the dense forest, wanting to seize the opportunity to get away. Want to run? Xia Qingyu gave a clear cry, exerting the stepping on the moon to the extreme, her silhouette like a white light chasing after him. The demon cultivator without formation blessing was simply no match for Xia Qingyu. In just one breath, he was reached behind his back by the sword shadows. Afterwards, sword intent like a dragon, wrapping around extreme killing intent and roaring away. Xia Qingyu slashed with one sword, and the demon cultivator's life force dissipated like smoke. Half a day later, the two adjusted their breath, and after stabilizing their states properly, they didn't stay in Qingzhou village anymore. The formation had been broken, the grieving souls in the village had all gone toward reincarnation, and the demon cultivator had also been brought to justice. They could rest assured and head to the Luoxia secret realm. Jiang Yungue shook his head. Although the death energy in his body had been cleaned, he still felt the sounds of grieving souls calling echoing in his ears. Damn it, are they not going to cling to me, right? How did you do it? Xia Qingyu looked at him, asking after a long silence, not asking how he destroyed the formation, but about that power infused through the imprint at the time. She couldn't figure it out. So you were acting all along? Jiang Yungue knew what she was asking, but the devouring ability and the demon emperor inheritance matters certainly couldn't be told. He thought for a while, and suddenly his thoughts shifted. Through the imprint, power can be infused. So does that mean, just now his entry? Forget it, forget it. I'd probably get beaten if I said it. This woman doesn't talk about face. Jiang Yungue shook his head again, failing to think of a suitable excuse, and choosing to play dumb on the spot. You are asking about the formation? Didn't I tell you? The formation, I was a big rock. I couldn't cut it open at first, so I just kept cutting, and then I confusedly slashed it to explode. Maybe the combo count reached the number of times. Have you played Fruit Ninja? Like the big pomegranate at the end. Xia Qingyu, what nonsense is this bastard speaking? What combo? What ninja? What big pomegranate? Has he been possessed by a ghost? She was speechless. However, the demon cultivator was dead, and it was normal for Jiang Yungue to have secrets he didn't want to reveal. She could understand. If you are rested, let's set off. We must arrive at the Luoxia mountain range before the secret realm opens. Xia Qingyu didn't continue to pursue the question, changing the subject to talk about business. Qingzhou village was just an interlude on the way, and her most important matter currently was still breaking the blood bond. Although it seemed now that the blood bond was not without its merits, but binding one's life with a demon cultivator, and being forced to be stained with demon cultivator aura, Xia Qingyu still couldn't accept it. She was the holy maiden of the Tianxian sect, and had to break the blood bond. Jiang Yungue sighed. He actually wanted to rest for a while. Going to the secret realm was absolutely full of danger. However, he felt that his suggestion would not be adopted by the other party. After all, it was said in the 3 chapters of agreement that all actions must be based on breaking the blood bond, and he couldn't think of any other important matters for the time being.